guys? Welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I'm Brad.
I'm Miguel.
And Halloween has ended as we know it, my friends. It's kind of
No, it did
sad that
not.
we're doing
October
this.
31st. It'll end.
Okay, but Halloween as we know it, like, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
We're talking about two different Halloweens, my friend.
That's true. But you know what? I'm all about the Halloween on the 31st, okay? I'm more excited about that. I am sad that Halloween ended,
Well,
though. I'm
you
sorry.
know,
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
uh,
It's over.
I don't know. It's kind of sad. I already made like a whole 9-minute like
Memorial.
sappy emotional video about it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just kind of sad to think that like this journey that we've been on for 5 years, like Halloween as we've known it for 5 years, all of this hype, constantly looking forward to what's next, the next movie, like that's gone. That's
Mm-hmm.
we're past that. Like that's it. And of course, like we're still come on. We're still going to talk about Halloween. We still have more of Oktoberfest to go. I literally have Halloween videos for next year. Like I like things that like I mean it's Halloween's not going anywhere for us, but in terms of looking at this guy right here, like it's done for right now. So,
Yeah, he ain't
but
putting the mask up yet.
no, I'm
Not
not.
yet.
The masks stay out. I did my new background. I got my ends poster up here. There's Halloween's not going anywhere. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, welcome to the show. It's been a while. I feel like it's been a while. I feel like it's been a while since we
Been
did
one
just like
week.
a yeah, but like where we did a show like this where we're just having a conversation with everybody versus like watching something because we've done a lot of watch-alongs this
Yeah,
this
yeah.
this uh this month. So. But that's been a blast too. Epic Retro Times here. What's going on, buddy? He said, let's talk about that new Corey Cunningham movie. Oh, we will, my friend.
Oh, we most definitely
We
will.
will. By the way, I know our. So typically, like, we do our like, parking lot, like, first reaction type deal when we walk out of the theater. And I know the Halloween Ends one was a little bit shorter than I guess we were expecting. But, like, there
Because a
was a
lot was going
car.
on.
There was a lot going on. We had our fam was still with us. But then B, there was a car meet going on that the cops were literally in the middle of shutting down, like as we were doing that, which you can hear on the video. And it was a lot to like process. So now that it's actually been a couple of days, I feel like there's more to say. Even though I feel like we're only gonna like scratch the tip of the iceberg of what we could say about this. You know what I mean? And like
Like
now,
tonight or from
yeah,
our
just
review on Friday?
tonight. Just like
Oh.
like there's so much to say about this movie, and there's so much that
Mm-hmm.
we're going to continue to say about this movie. It's just we'll get to what we can, obviously, and we are going to talk
Mm-hmm.
spoilers. So spoiler alert if you have not seen Halloween Ends. But yeah, so this will be kind of the official review because I know that parking lot one that we did was kind of like there was a lot happening. At once.
It
It's
was
like
relatively
I was
short.
trying to process the movie, but I was also hearing the cops and the cars, and then like just it was a lot. So, but Rosalia's here. What's going on, Rosalia?
Hey, y'all.
The horror ends. I like it. He's here. He says hi, Rosalia. Yeah, the boys are back in town.
So
Jaded's
cringe.
here, man. He said, "Yo, I've been waiting for this one. We've been waiting for this one too, my friend."
We certainly have.
He said, "I've transcended so much since the last stream." So you've been killing people, I guess, because the more you kill, the more you transcend, or is that just Michael? Which one is
That's
that?
Corey, man. What are you talking
Is that
about?
is that Corey? Is that Michael? Or is that Jaded? Draven, what's up, buddy? He said, "I still don't know if I like this movie or if I hated it." I think you're not
That's what
alone
we're here
in
to
that,
discuss.
and that's something that a lot of people I've seen run into. Like, by the way, if you haven't left this stream a like already and you're in here, please leave it a like.
Please
But
go ahead and
I've
stab that like for us, brothers
stabbed
and
that like button,
sisters.
man. I don't know. I think let's go ahead and just talk about the reception and kind of what's been going on in the community.
Because I feel like that in and of itself is a conversation that could fill an entire show. Is the reception that this movie took,
right, and
without a doubt. It was so
there
polarizing, so diverse. It was the greens versus the blacks. If you guys watch House of the Dragon, it was very much polar opposite of what I've seen from the second it came out to the second we sat down in our seats. I saw two different sides of the coin, and yeah, if we were to talk about that, we'd take an entire show. But if you want to give it a go, we might as well.
well here's the thing with Halloween. So let me talk about my perspective first. So
That's what we care about.
Halloween 2018. I know I'm gonna flip the coin and I'm gonna put it on me. I'm kidding.
Okay.
So when I walked out of Halloween 2018, I remember. So
Okay.
like I remember the movie ended. The Shape Burns is playing. Then Halloween Triumphant's playing, and then you get to the end of the film and you hear that, and it was like, oh, okay, he's not dead. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there as the credits were rolling, and I was like, and I mean, you know this. This was the fifth Halloween movie that my dad and I have seen in the theater together. And I remember him and my mom looked over at me, and he was like, "You're disappointed, aren't you?" And I was like, and I'm talking about 18, by the way. This is 4 years ago now. And I'm sitting there, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't know. I was like, it just didn't. The ending fell flat for me. And as time went on, I appreciated 18 more and more and more. Then by the time we got to Halloween Kills, I went into Halloween Kills again, knowing some spoilers, but I thought Halloween Kills was going to be like the Shawshank Redemption of Halloween movies. Like it was going to be this like Braveheart, epic, beautiful moment, and I walked out of Halloween Kills like, what the like. What? Like, did I like that or did I not? Like, I don't know. Like, I was very confused when I walked out of Kills. I'll say this, and then I'll kind of dive into it deeper in a minute. Halloween Ends was the first one in this trilogy that I walked out of the theater like, yep, that was it. I liked it. Like, okay. I felt good. I felt good when the credits were rolling. And they walked out. I was like, I have to. I was like,
He really did.
this is a
He
moment.
stayed
Like
after the
I'm
movie for a while. No, he stayed because he thought there was an after credit scene. You know
No,
what I
I
mean?
didn't. I knew there wasn't. I already looked it up and I knew there wasn't, but I was like, I'm hearing the Halloween music right now and I'm feeling this moment and I was literally standing by myself in the movie theater. There was nobody else there and I was just listening to the credits and I was like, this is a moment. Like this is like a moment to me, you know. It was really
Mm-hmm.
special. So my immediate feeling walking out of the theater for the first time in the trilogy was I felt satisfied. I was like I enjoyed that. I enjoyed sitting there watching that movie. Miguel, how about you? What was your, you know, kind of comparing your gut reaction like minutes after the credits rolled compared to the first time you saw Kills and the first time you saw 18?
How did I react on like knee jerk reaction of the movie like
Yeah.
after the credits rolled?
hmm I mean, I was
I was
there, so I
perplexed.
know, but
I was perplexed. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know if that's the right term or phrase to use for this feeling. But yeah, I was kind of like, well, I don't know what to feel right now. Because I mean, for me, at least Halloween's over. At least in my opinion, at least the way I feel. 'Cause especially with the Laurie Strode story. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I didn't leave that theater mad. I'll tell you that much. I didn't
right.
leave it mad. I didn't leave it extremely excited. I mean, I was just like, oh, there it is, man. That's the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, so when we're talking about the response, you know, we said this in that parking lot little video after we walked out.
hmm
I was starting to get nervous. I was very optimistic. I watched the trailers. I did not watch the behind the scenes stuff. Since I've seen it now, but I didn't watch the behind the scenes stuff because I knew that there were things in there that I just didn't. Even if it wasn't spoilers, I just like I don't want to see it before I'm actually in the theater watching it. Like I went in thinking, you know what? I do not want to see any of that stuff before,
hmm
like even small things like Laurie cooking in the kitchen. Like I was like, I don't want to see that until I'm sitting there in the theater watching it.
yeah.
And I'll say this about the reactions. I completely understand, and this is a little bit of a disclaimer here. Whether you're watching like right now, anybody who joins the stream, not I trust all of you, and I don't think any of you would do this that are watching right now. But I'm just saying this as a blanket statement, even for people who are watching after the fact. I'm not doing the hateful comments thing because I have seen some hateful shit said on some other people's videos and on Twitter, like against content creators, against people. Like at the end of the day, you can love Halloween Kills and still be a diehard fan. You can, or Halloween Ends. You can hate Halloween Ends and still be a diehard fan. Like, the fact that we all have different opinions on this franchise and on every one of these movies, and the fact that they all resonate differently with us for different reasons, is what makes this community of people so special. So like
Mm-hmm.
the I've seen terrible things that people have said to each other, and I'm like, dude, first of all, it's a movie. Calm down. Like, it is not. You are not gonna die if you
It's
think
not
this
that
was a
deep,
bad
bro.
movie.
It's
Like,
not that deep.
for
Yeah.
real, it's really not. Like, chill out. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
again, that's none of you in the chat right now. I'm saying that as a blanket statement because I have seen some really, really hateful things said to people, and just like kind of like vicious, like for no reason, like, and even like I've seen other people say this, but like, if your argument for somebody liking a movie or not liking a movie starts with, if you were a real fan, or a real fan would have thought that, like, shut up, dude. Literally shut up. Like, we're all real fans. You know what I mean? Like, what
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
you more of a real fan than me for liking it or disliking it or whatever, you know? So I
Mm-hmm.
think the reception, and I'm not even necessarily talking about like reviews, like Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care about what people say on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, that's irrelevant to me. But like, Jay did, for real. Like, the toxicity in the fandom is the real evil, tbh. Like, legit, it's more of an
Ooh.
evil than Michael is. Like, and I it's not every that's the sad thing, is it's not everybody, but it's like the loud minority. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. It's just like, it's the people that are going around telling everybody that they're not real fans and telling them to kill themselves or hang themselves or whatever. It's just like, dude, grow up. Like, get a life and grow up. Like, if this is gonna cause you to be that hateful to somebody, then like, don't watch movies or don't read books or don't appreciate any kind of art, because it's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to make you feel something, you know.
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
know. I just don't want people to be hateful. Like, and I knew it was going to be divided. Like, horror ends exactly, man. To be honest, Brad, that way the movie divided the excuse me, that way this movie divided Jamie Lee Curtis predicted. She said it will piss a lot of people off, and it worked, and it did. I think they knew that this movie was going to piss people off because it's very, very different. And somebody who liked it will 100% agree. Halloween Ends is very, very different from anything other people would have expected. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you would have told me that this was the direction that a Halloween film was going to take, I probably would have pulled like a Mustafa Akkad with some of those other scripts and like thrown it across the room. Like, I'd have been like, get that out of my face. That is a
With this
terrible
script in
idea.
particular?
Well, I don't know, not this script in particular, but just the idea of, again, we're not in spoiler territory just yet, but with some of the choices that they made in this film, I'd have been like, that is a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a moment halfway through the movie that I literally looked at Julia and I said, why am I enjoying this as much as I am? Like, I was like, I feel like this is like dirty. Like, I shouldn't be having as much fun with this movie as I am, but I'm having an absolute blast with it, and I love it. So I
That's
just
really surprising.
all of that to say, like, don't be hateful to people. Like, that's it.
There's no need for
That's it.
hate for Halloween, man. It comes
There's
back.
not.
You get one time a year to enjoy these movies. It's like, where it's your main priority to love it. And yeah, come on, man. You can't be having all that much hate. Ain't
Yeah.
no need for all that hate, okay? Hate
And
people
like I
died with. Whoops, don't want to spoil that.
yeah, and like I said in the video, in that real sappy emotional video that I made, like, at the end of the day, this has been a fun ride. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can't sit here and tell me whatever you think of the trilogy as a whole. You can't sit here and tell me that it has not been fun for the last 5 years. This like speculation thing and all of the, just like the speculation, the constant anticipation of what's to come
Mm-hmm.
from when we first found out about 18, and then after like the response to 18, and then moving into Kills and Ends after they were announced, and then the anticipation after Kills was delayed during COVID, and then on to, like, it's been fun. It's been a really, really fun ride. So I hope that people, no matter what they think of it, appreciate the journey that this has been for us. You know what I mean? And for diehard fans. So I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
definitely been a
My
journey,
soapbox is
guys. I'll
up
tell you
now.
that much. Yeah. What your memorial, I guess, of
Hmm.
Halloween Ends?
Yeah, but my soapbox about like just don't be hateful to other people. Like we can disagree to disagree, and that's fine, and that can be fun. It can be
Yeah,
cool to disagree on stuff, but you don't
I
need to
get
tell
that,
somebody to
but you
hang
ain't gotta.
themselves because they disagree with
Yeah,
you on
you
a
can't you
movie.
can't have all
Calm
that
down.
fucking hateful comments because of different opinions in this movie. You gotta be chill with that, okay?
Yeah.
Because just like how you may be like a real diehard Halloween fan, guess what? Like David Gordon Green's a big Halloween fan, and
Yeah.
he created a story that he liked. And guess what? I mean, guess just like how I said with the whole like Marvel thing, with like people don't like the direction that it's going. There's different avenues you can choose from. Same way with Halloween. I think there's like three different storylines that you could like
Oh,
follow.
there's like six.
So
What are you
like
talking about?
if you don't like this, three primary one, okay.
Yeah.
But like if you don't like this one, the one that Blumhouse made, you probably like all the other ones. Like go ahead, wet your beak and all the other storylines. But this is just another story that was told, of the Halloween franchise.
Yeah.
And truth be told, guess what, guys? I'm like, it's not the end of Michael Myers. There's gonna be plenty
Exactly.
more, and I
Exactly.
think this movie in particular, Halloween Ends, really depicted that the idea that guess what, like the Halloween franchise is not going to go away anytime soon. The question of Michael Myers, I don't fucking know, but that's for a different conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jaded brings up a really good point. He said, "I hate Miguel for other reasons other than his opinions on movies." Jk.
Is it because of my Rogue One poster? Because a lot of people didn't like that movie, but I for one loved it, and so yeah, I'm sorry. I'm kidding, Jay. I
Listen,
love you.
I've said this before. This is might be a very unpopular opinion, and this is coming from somebody who is not a very big Star Wars fan. Rogue
Hmm.
One is, I think, my favorite movie in the entire Star Wars franchise.
Oh yeah,
I
no doubt
really
about
think
it.
it is.
It's really
Seriously, I
great.
really think it is. I enjoyed watching Rogue One more than I've ever enjoyed watching a Star Wars movie in my life.
Yeah,
Like, I really
I
did.
mean,
I
in
just
my
had a
heart,
great time with it.
yeah, I thought it was
So,
probably one of the better ones, but just because there weren't no Jedi's, people didn't like it. Same thing we're gonna have to talk about with Halloween Ends, so
yeah.
we can have at it at that.
I'm gonna go ahead. Let me put this in now. So if you have not seen, um, if you have not seen Halloween Ends, I'm just gonna go ahead. I just spelled
Spoiler,
spoiler.
spoiler.
Spoiler warning. There we go. Why did? What the hell?
What am I missing? What am I missing? Guys? I don't have the chat, so I'm
There we
sorry.
go. There we go. I couldn't spell the word spoiler. It wasn't working.
Oh,
I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this out there now. If you have not seen Halloween Ends, we are going to be talking spoilers on this stream.
mm-hmm.
We purposely wait a little bit of time after the movie to do our full review. I know people beat us to the punch, and that's fine. I don't care about that. I just
It's a
we
marathon, not a sprint.
it is like for real. Like we wanted to take the time and like actually process this and think about it. So if you've not seen Halloween Ends, bye. Go watch it, then come back. Please come back and see us, though. We love you. We miss you. We
Yeah,
want
it's
to
on Peacock,
tenderly.
guys. Go check it out.
Never mind. So, anyways, Halloween Ends. Let me say this. I was a big fan. Now, that is not to say that it is a perfect movie by any means, because it is not a perfect
Mm-hmm.
movie. And
Mm-hmm.
I said that before. I said this before. It is a very, very strange direction to take for the conclusion in a trilogy, because you have to think a trilogy is like a first, second, and third act. And the fact that they decided to do this and tell the story through a very different lens, being through Corey's eyes, essentially, because I mean, Corey is as much of a main character as Laurie or Allison or Lindsay or Hawkins
Mm-hmm.
or Michael. I mean, he is.
Oh,
And
by
there,
far, he has more screen time than literally the entire fucking cast, and that's
yeah,
because he was the focus of the movie.
right.
So,
And I think Halloween Ends is very misunderstood. For me, it was a very, and I made a whole long tweet about this as well. But for me, it was a very unique, satisfying conclusion to this trilogy.
hmm.
And I
Well, didn't you
think,
say this felt like a? If I'm beating you to the punch, I'm sorry, but
no,
didn't
you're
you feel
fine.
like it was like an epilogue to the whole
I did.
franchise, and it did?
I did,
Then more
and
of like a trilogy ender, like the end of the franchise kind of thing.
yeah, it felt interesting because I almost felt like this was like tacked on to the end. And I don't say that in a cheap way, like, oh, they just tacked this story onto the end. No, it felt like an epilogue. It felt like, okay, here's the story. We're going to show you after, though. This is like the there's no way of saying afterthought without it sounding negative. And I don't mean it in a negative way. It just, this felt like, here's what's happening after the story we were trying to tell. And I was kind of okay with that. I think in terms of like the structure and the pacing and the quality of the storytelling and the dialogue and the way this story was presented, honestly, I think it might be the best of the Blumhouse trilogy in terms of the structure of the movie, just as a movie in general. Now, I'm not talking about like the creative decisions, because there were creative decisions that I didn't like. I liked Corey. I liked Allison. I loved Laurie. I surprisingly, and this is going to be a very hot topic, liked Michael. I
Yeah.
know people are like, "What?" But I
Well,
did. I liked Michael. I liked what they did with the character. I think it made sense for this trilogy, and we're going to talk
because that's
about
something
Michael
you've
a lot
said
in a minute.
at nauseum, like since the trailer came out. You consistently try to tell the audience that my man is damn near 75.
He's
So
almost
like,
70. I think he's
yeah,
65.
and that
He's
was
Yeah,
and that
he's
was always
65.
something. Yeah, and that was always something that everybody said. Like every content creator, every commenter, everybody that talked about the movie stated this fact that Michael is an old man now. He was an
Right.
old man in Kills. He was an old man in 2018. He is most definitely an old man. The man's decrepit in
He
Halloween
is.
Ends.
Yeah, he's
And
65 years
now,
old.
like at Halloween
He
Ends.
in Halloween he was 21. He was 6 years old in when he killed Judith. He was
Mm-hmm.
21 years old in 1978. In 2018, he was 61, and 4 years later in Halloween Ends he's 65. So, when Michael
Okay.
died, he was
Well,
65
still,
years old.
nevertheless, understand that a 65-year-old serial killer, like you're not gonna, you're like you should, everyone should be grateful that you got kills with Michael being 61 and
Mhm.
wrecking shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
obviously, 4 years can add some weight to you.
Mhm. Well,
So
and
when you're talking about like Michael, like now, like not to like get in depth with it yet, but that was something a lot of people talked at nauseatum, was the fact that he was old. And then all of a sudden people start getting upset because, well, where's Michael? He ain't doing much. And it's because he's old. He doesn't have much, he can't do much. It's
right.
simple as that.
Well,
So
and here's kind of I think Halloween Ends is being very misunderstood. Um, this I,
well,
and
understood it for us, buddy.
I know I think part of what happened was they really marketed this movie like this is Laurie and Mike, like you're gonna get 2 hours of Laurie
Mm-hmm.
and Michael duking
Mm-hmm.
it out. They did.
That
They
really
marketed it
was.
like that, and I think that was partially on purpose, but I can move past that.
I
Uh,
can't.
I
Okay.
I think
Unacceptable.
I really have to tip my hat to David Gordon Green because he took something. This whole core, yeah, it was like the bait and switch thing. You're not wrong. It
Mm-hmm.
was, um, but I think to people like us, most of us diehard Halloween fans that knew going into Ends that it was going to be weird, that it was going to be different, that there was going to be this uh, copycat kind of thing. Which I'm glad it wasn't necessarily a copycat because I didn't ever really like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
But this idea that they were working together, which again, if you would have told me that Michael and another killer would be working together, I probably would have like I probably would have laughed in your face and told you to
Yeah.
go like screw off. Like I'd have been
Mm-hmm.
pissed. But there was something about it. That was the moment I was talking about. Like I'm not kidding you. The moment that uh, the the horny nurse slams Corey's hand in the door, and she's on the phone with the police, and Michael comes out of the closet. Like, the door just swings open, and he's standing there, and he pins her up against the wall, and Corey's got his hand on the glass, and Michael just kind of like... He just looks over at Corey and then, like, looks back over at her and stabs her. Like, when they were, like, tag team killing, I was like... That was the moment I looked at Julia, and I was like... Why is this awesome? Like, I was like, why am I enjoying this as much as I am? Like, this is so weird because it's such a stupid idea. It sounds so stupid, but like, I don't know, seeing it and seeing how it was executed, I've got to tip my hat to David Gordon Green because, like, I don't know if many people could have actually pulled that off on screen. I don't.
Do you think? So wait, are you saying that like the execution of this storyline is pretty much what saved it for you in regards to like?
Yeah, actually,
as a whole.
I do, and I also think what saved it is I think a lot of people went in thinking it was going to be 2 hours of Laurie and Michael duking it out, and the fact that I looked at this movie going in, and my mindset was this is not Michael's movie, and I said that in our thing, and you were like, oh, that's a spoiler. And I didn't mean it like that. Like, when I say this is not a movie about Michael, I don't mean it's a movie
I caught
about
on to
Corey.
you.
I don't mean it's a movie about Corey, even though you could argue it's about Corey. I think, while, like I said in my tweet, I can understand where the negative response was coming from, but I also think that this movie was not about Michael or Corey or Allison. This movie, at the end of the day, was about giving a full conclusion to Laurie Strode and to Haddonfield. And I've seen people say, I think somebody said it earlier in the chat, I'm not going to scroll all the way back up there, but this trilogy was very much about Haddonfield. It was very much about Laurie. Halloween 2018 was about Laurie. It was about seeing what trauma. It was about, you know, how that how 1978 affected her. Halloween Kills was about how the events of 1978 affected the entire town of Haddonfield. Halloween Ends was kind of a mixture of... It was really... You were seeing it from Laurie's perspective. Like, I loved... First of all, Sandra survived. The literal...
I didn't want to talk
LED
about that
light
yet, man.
To the throat.
I was gonna say this. There were very little moments where my jaw dropped in this movie, and that's not a bad thing. But when I tell you that my jaw dropped and I covered my mouth when I saw fucking Sandra walking out of that, just like, I was like, damn, that's worse. That's the best. That's a better comeback than fucking strong side Hawkins when he got ran over and shoved and got stabbed in the neck. Yeah. Her comeback was by far the best, and her like story to end at the end of Haddonfield, have her seeing it, you know, come to a conclusion. Oh my god! When I saw her got pulled out, because like at first I thought this was gonna be like whenever Laurie got confronted at the grocery store, I thought it was just gonna be some lady talking about like how he let Michael kill all these people, but then like it ended up being like, I don't know, like a niece or a nephew, daughter, I don't know, of Sandra. I was like, hey, yo. And she's still chilling.
I thought it was her sister.
Oh, I didn't really pay attention to that because my mouth was so far to the fucking ground that I was catching like popcorn that was on the floor for weeks. Well, oh my god, I was surprised by that.
I don't know. She said something about like, I don't remember what she said exactly, but she said something about like, you know, he killed her husband and then he left her or whatever. And like Art, what you said, dude, like she had a fate worse than death. But like at least Hawkins getting run over is the thing where I'm like, okay, there's no way you could have survived that really. But
you could not have survived either one. Dude, either one.
But at least Sartain's blade was only like that big. Sandra literally got stabbed in the jugular with a piece of glass that was that long, like that thick around, and like that, like, dude, there's no way. Like there is no way. But that's besides the point.
Doctors on the chat, please confirm with us. Like
The
fact check that. Can Sandra survive with a LED light
well,
rod straight to the neck?
you know why she survived, right?
Because the fucking script allowed it.
Because
David Gordon Green said
she had that
plot armor.
she had plot armor
Yeah,
to make that happen.
yeah.
Also, another like okay, and this actually goes in what I was about to say goes in with the point I'm making is 18 was about Laurie's trauma. Kills was about Haddonfield's trauma. End was kind of a little bit of a mixture. We saw Haddonfield's trauma through Laurie's eyes and how it was affecting Laurie. Like that moment where Sandra's sister or her niece or whoever that was like, you know, you did this. You like if you wouldn't have egged him on, he wouldn't have done this or whatever. And Laurie went in her car and like started to cry. And Hawkins came and told her about cherry blossoms and made it all better. You know what I mean? Which they were absolutely adorable, by the way. I'm just gonna say that now. But you know, I think I don't know. It was really interesting seeing that through Laurie's eyes and seeing the way that people blame her. Another thing that I did not realize in the like when I was first watching when Laurie is narrating the beginning and she's talking about the after like what happened after kills and we're kind of seeing the effects of Michael on Haddonfield. You know the woman that was hanging, the woman that hung herself outside of her house?
Yeah.
And she had the like the devil costume on or whatever, and Laurie and Lindsay are standing in the street and like, you know, Laurie and Lindsay are standing there watching. That was Oscar's mom.
I know. Yeah.
I didn't realize that until after and I was like, "Oh."
Bro,
like, oh,
some of
crap.
some of the things
mom.
that happen, some of the things that happened in this movie that really made me like jaw drop weren't even with main characters.
Yeah.
That's how good this movie. That's how I like this side character thing that they did.
That's the kind of thing. I know a lot of people have argued that there wasn't a lot of like connective tissue between 18 and Kills and Ends, but like those little things like that, I'm like, okay, but we're seeing like how we're seeing the effects of that. You know what I mean? Like we're seeing the effects of what happened. Like, yeah, that was Oscar's mom, and she was wearing his like devil costume thing. Like she hung herself. That was bad. Oh,
bro, what a place to do that too.
J-Dead said, "Man, Oscar was a perv. Let him go, ma."
That's so fun.
But yeah, man, I don't know. It was. I think it's interesting when you think about it that way, and you know, even larger. Going back to my original point here, Halloween Ends was never going to be about Michael. And I went into this film thinking, okay, this is not Michael's movie. We got Michael's movie. Kills was Michael's movie. It was, at the end of the day. Like, Halloween Kills was Michael's film. And we got to see Michael just on a full-on rampage. And that was we had never really gotten that before. And that was... That made sense. And going into this, I was like, this film is not about Michael himself, but it's about Michael's legacy. It's about the lasting impact and the legacy that Michael and his evil left on this small, damaged town. And they're blaming that on Laurie a lot. You know what I mean? That's why, at the end of the day, this was always going to be Laurie's conclusion. This was never going to be the conclusion of Michael Myers, even though technically it was, or the conclusion of Allison or Hawkins or Lindsay or Mike. Like it was always about Laurie. And I
always felt
even through Corey and through the Corey story, I always felt like, okay, this is about Laurie. That's what we're trying to do here. You know.
Well, I always thought that whole like development between like the relations between Haddonfield and Laurie, I always felt that like somewhat inconsistent, because it was always like at one part like they all thought she was a crazy cat lady, and then one part it's like, we're gonna fucking evil dice a night for you, Laurie. And then we go back to like, this was all your fault, Laurie.
Yeah, right.
and then it comes to the end, it's like, Laurie, you're our fucking savior. It's like, what? It's like, what's this back and forth shit? Haddonfield, you ain't real. Handful
I
of a bunch
was
of rats
I always kind
over
of thought
here
that
like
was
flip flopping with Laurie Strode. I was like, bitch, you ain't the real OG. You weren't there from the beginning. Get the fuck out of
the
here.
only two that were really there from the very beginning were Laurie and Lindsay. They were the only two that actually like, you know what I mean? Like in
Yeah,
1978, and Lindsay was like what 8 years old. Like it's not, you know what I mean? It's not
yeah.
like I don't know. They were the only
Everyone,
real survivors of the whole thing, you know,
shit, yeah.
like
I
from
mean,
the
when you right,
beginning.
you right. I was Loki. I was so yeah. That whole relationship between the town and Lori, I felt was so inconsistent. I couldn't really care for that type of thing. So at the very end, when we got that whole like memorial thing, I was just like, bitch, get the fuck out of here. Ain't no
Yeah,
way in hell you're like, oh, it's like all of a sudden since now that the prize has been claimed. It's like now we praise you. It's
the
like
prize
what
has been
you were
claimed.
like. I wonder how that lady. I wonder how Sandra's sister felt now at that point. She was probably like, I mean, I still hate you, but hey, you got him. Like that's all I was gonna
Yeah.
like. That's all I was
Well,
thinking. I was like, bro, fix this relationship. Like
it's
Lori,
funny.
you gotta go. You gotta
Every
go. Leave this town.
everybody treated Laurie like crap throughout the entire movie, but the minute she had her and Allison had Michael strapped to the hood of her car, and everybody like looked at Laurie like you said, it was like our savior. Like, and
Yeah,
they all
it's
like got
like
out of her way and stuff, and like
yeah,
let her like they let her push Michael down in there. It was just like,
yeah.
oh, like
It's
now
it's like
now we all like are holding Laurie up on a pedestal. Like
yeah,
it's
it's
weird.
like some people were like, "Oh shit!" So that's why we said evil dies tonight ad nauseum. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's why we killed that guy. Now I
Yeah,
understand.
so that's so Triboli's death was not in vain. It's like no, definitely was, definitely was.
You all
So
committed a federal crime. Just saying.
yeah,
Like,
if not an
um,
accessory too.
but
So
yeah, and even speaking about Laurie, like I even really enjoyed even before it all hit the fan. Like the opening was cool, and we'll talk about the opening when we talk
oh my
about Corey
god,
in just a minute. But
yeah,
like. I even really enjoyed, like, I see some of you, like, making a joke about it, like, she's gonna go bake her some fresh pies, evil pies tonight. Like, I enjoyed seeing Laurie B78 Laurie because we hadn't seen that. Like
hmm
when we got introduced to the character again, because in the 78 film, Laurie was the twirl in her hair. She was the girl next door. She was
we got
sweet. Uh,
we got innocent teenager to Sarah Connor and
exactly.
then all the way back to Martha Stewart, the one that's done time
I know,
but
right?
is still a motherly figure.
Yeah. But if you notice though, she went straight from Martha Stewart right
Right back to Sarah
on.
Connor.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was just like, boop. It was like the minute somebody mentioned Michael, she was like, you know what I mean? Like, just
No,
dropped the gun.
it was when she was doing like the whole like on the chair thing at the crime scene. I was like, "Oh, Laurie's back. Laurie's back."
Yeah,
So, yeah.
dude, I knew she was still in there when the marching band kids were bullying Corey, and she went with the knife, and she said, "All right, so are you gonna do it or am I?" And they
Oh
started
my
popping their
god.
tires. I was like,
No, that's what I
I
mean.
was like, what?
That's that's what I mean. Like the Martha Stewart, she went from Sarah Connor to Martha Stewart because, like, hey, Martha Stewart's a wonderful person. She can cook, she can clean, she's a great motherly figure. But the second you kick her off, hey, that 6 months in the pen, she'll shank your tires. So
Yeah,
I was like, yeah,
yeah.
that's the Laurie Strode I love.
And Dravid, you even bring up a good point too, man. He said, "That's what I didn't get. If she was really trying to move on, then why was she still living in the town?" Yeah, I'll tell you what. For a town that is willing to kill innocent people in the name of evil dies tonight, and
Mm-hmm.
for a town that has been through all of these awful crimes in its history, when we saw Halloween Night in 2019, not Grayson, what was his name? Jackson? No. Um, Jeremy. When Jeremy accidentally fell off the stairs when he locked Corey in the thing and did that, which again we'll talk about that
Bro,
in a minute.
that shit was wild.
I
I
was.
that's the only death I was spoiled on TikTok. Fuck you, TikTok.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I was shut. I was like, bro, it's 1 year after the events of Kills, after like almost 60 people were murdered in cold blood by Michael Myers, and
Yeah.
people are out trick or treating and just like having a good old time like it was before. I was like, dude, what? Are you being for real right now? Really?
Yeah,
It was
like
very
did
strange.
that make any type of sense? The fact that people were still going to celebrate Halloween. I
Yeah.
wanted to see like Halloween be like Footloose. You know what I mean? Like there shall be no dancing, no
Yeah,
fun, no music, no nothing. Just like
but that's
like
something that
straight
that's
like
something that
dissolve it.
that's something that a lot of Halloween, unmade Halloween sequels, a lot of scripts have put in there that like Halloween is banned. Like Haddonfield doesn't celebrate Halloween. You're not allowed to, and it's
Hmm.
like a black market type thing. Like people still try to sell Halloween costumes, and teenagers not black market. That's
Oh,
extreme, but
but
like
like
teenagers still have Halloween parties off, and the cops go shut them down and stuff like that. Just like Halloween is a very taboo thing, and they've never really done that necessarily.
hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Jade had said she was still living in Haddonfield because she was thirsty for that Hawkins D.
Bro, right? I feel like Laurie Strode was low key kind of like shopping in that grocery store just so she can catch Hawkins.
I know, right?
Be like, "Oh, my bag is empty. Oh, what a chance
She
to find you here,
she
Hawkins.
she said she
Wow."
saw him one day and she said, "So he grocery shops on a Wednesday.
On a
Got
Wednesday. Yeah,
got it. That's
cuz
written down. I'll
I'm not
grocery
putting
shop
that
on
past
Wednesday."
I'm not putting that past Laurie Strode. She definitely stalked Hawkins. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Yeah, for real.
So,
But I don't know. I liked seeing Laurie just be Laurie again, and
mhm.
seeing her and Allison living normally and baking pies, and Allison and Lindsay playing cards, and like I don't know. And it's even cool to think that like Lindsay was just this kid that Laurie babysat, and they went through this awful thing together when they were younger, and now Laurie and Lindsay have like a bond and a relationship, and they're friends. Like I thought that was kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
really enjoyed the beginning of the movie, and just seeing Laurie live her life, and seeing that I think almost made me happier that at the end of the day Laurie got a happy ending. Like because I was, if you remember, I was very much in the camp that Laurie and Michael should die together. I think the only way to end it is for,
Well, that's what they marketed.
well, yeah, and if you think back to Kills when Laurie says, he'll take my head as I take his, or something like that. Like,
Mhm.
I kind of thought they were foreshadowing that, but at the end of the day, I was actually very pleased that Laurie ended up getting her happy ending. I thought it made sense. I thought it was satisfying to me, and surprisingly, I really didn't care that Michael died as much as I thought I would. I was kind of like, I was like, I don't necessarily want him to die, but like, I was kind of like,
I don't want
I
him to
kind of
live.
I kind of found myself when she was stabbing him and like slitting his wrists and like stabbing him in the side and stuff, and he was like flinching or whatever. I was kind of like I kind of found myself like excited in a weird way. I was like I don't know. This movie surprised me like in many different ways. My response and kind of what I felt um really surprised me a lot more. Let's talk about Corey while we're here, because
The
this
Corey
is
Show.
this is the juicy one. Um, so, what did everybody think of Corey?
Yeah, guys,
Please
tell
let
us
me
in the
know. I would
comments.
love to know. Blow up this chat. Tell me what you
I
thought of
want to know
Corey.
everything you felt about Corey, and I promise you, I will read it. I will read every single comment. It because I'll say this: when we were introduced to Corey, right from the get go, when he came out of that place, when he came into that mansion, I knew for a second that this man was just gonna be like a killer. That's what I would say. I knew he was gonna be some fucking psychopathic killer from the get go, just because of how things were leading up to it. And from what I could see throughout the movie with Corey, I have my own kind of theory with why they dealt with Corey, but I'll let you like uh give Corey a chance if you want to talk about him and at your pace. But I have my own theory in regards to Corey because Corey was such a I felt like a foil to us as an
Molly.
audience than Laurie Strode in the movie. because if I had to talk about Corey ad nauseam in regards to like how he was portrayed throughout the movie, I'd say that he was definitely like like a what's it called? He encompassed the trauma that Haddonfield has had throughout
Come here. Come
the
here.
franchise.
Come here.
And I think that with Corey all of a sudden becoming, what everyone in Haddonfield feared is what brought out the whole trauma thing in Haddonfield. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I do. Sorry, my the dog was trying to eat the cat. She was trying to pull a Corey on the cat. Um, but yeah, I listen. I didn't mind Corey actually, and it was something that I was very very leery about going in. But I actually thought Corey really worked for me, and I thought Roanne Campbell did a really good job with the character. I liked the character. I thought it was a very natural progression. Um, and I don't know, something about it worked. I liked the relationship with Allison, although Allison moves lightning quick. I mean, I know it's a 2 hour movie and you gotta roll it along, but man,
Mm-hmm.
Allison, like literally, Corey was still bleeding in the ER at Haddonfield Memorial when Allison was just like his nurse randomly, and Allison was like, "So what if I went and took your pants off?" Like it was just very
Bro,
like, boom,
quick,
here we are.
quick,
Like I think you even said you were like, boy, Allison works quick. Like she
quick.
wastes zero time with trying to get with him. Um, but I liked Corey. It was fun watching his descent into like insanity.
I'm
Um,
gonna assume you're petting Molly and not your thigh.
I am. I'm. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sitting here petting my thigh. No, I'm kidding. Hey, come here. Say hi to the people. Come here. She stopped and turned around and looked at me and was like, "No." I just
Yeah.
turned and kept going. Um, but yeah, man, I liked what they did with Corey, and again, I was leery. It was something that if you would have looked at me and said, "Hey, they're gonna do this weird, um, like parallel, like multiple killer thing with this character, and it's gonna be more about his descent into madness and him, his own trauma and things like that," I would have been like, "Dude, you are insane. Like, you're an idiot. Like, that's the dumbest
Mm-hmm.
idea I've ever heard." But
Yeah.
something about the way it was done, and that's where I said I have to tip my hat to David Gordon Green, because he took something that should not have worked by any stretch of the imagination
Mm.
and
You put that
somehow
shit in
made it work.
1990s. If you would have switched that,
No,
that could have been
no,
Resurrection
yeah,
in the early
like
2000s and 90s.
there was a moment, and I guess we kind of have to talk about Michael here too. But again, there was a moment when uh, even I'm still watching her. The cast is trying to sleep. Like that's literally all he's trying to do is he's just trying to sleep, and she's like, "I'll kill you." Like that she's not actually gonna kill him. It's just she's staring at him like she won't leave him alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, Molly, leave him
J-Dad,
alone, dude.
I like your comment right here, because J-Dad said he said I'm in the minority, but I loved Corey's story. It showed how evil isn't just one person. How if you're not careful, evil can sneak up into your life and infect you and the people around you. That's pretty damn true. But I will say this though, I feel
Come
like
here.
people didn't
How about
really
it?
like Corey's story all that
Come
well,
here.
is
Come here.
because of the difference between the way Michael became a killer and the
Lay
way
down.
Corey became a killer. Because with the way Michael became a killer, it was just like a split second. He was always weird. He was always weird because they said that in Kills. He was always a weird guy.
Yeah, yeah.
But for some reason, he snapped and killed his sister. But with Corey,
It
it
was a
started with
slow descent.
it was a slow descent, and you got to
Hmm.
see his psyche and how he ended up becoming a killer like Michael. And I feel
Right.
like some people didn't like that because it was like Michael was so loved because it just snapped. Like you don't know what his reason is. You don't know what
Right.
his motives are, and that's what made him way more scarier as compared to Corey, where it's like I feel bad for you that this accident happened, but you're really not helping your case, and you're falling down a path that's gonna eventually be
Right.
a killer based lifestyle.
Yeah.
And when it came down
A
to the
killer
husband, yeah,
a killer based lifestyle. I like that.
and
That's
when it
funny.
and when it came to because you got different perspectives with of who Corey is between the mother and the husband of the son that was killed. And I thought
Hmm.
that was beautifully done, and it just goes to show like how different perspectives can really show who a person is. Because when it came to the mother, straight up stone cold killer, like, you killed my son, you're an evil person, you are the
Yeah.
epitome embodiment of evil.
Well, and
with
there was a
uh
parallel
with the
there
husband,
with.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, I was
Sorry.
gonna
Go
say,
on.
but with the husband, it showed that he was perplexed by the idea that he could have done this, because he always thought Corey was just this, not a hard worker, but relatively a
Like
good
a good
worker,
kid.
but
Yeah.
a good kid. That accident happened and it ruined his life. But
Yeah.
the second he saw Corey and looked into those eyes, the same way Loomis said it and the same way Laurie said it in the movie as well, he said I looked at that eye and I did not see that boy that was a babysitter. I saw someone completely different, a stone cold
Right.
killer. And I thought
Well,
that was an interesting progression of his fall into the pit of evil, I guess. But I think some people didn't like it because it showed you how he became a killer.
yeah. Well, and that's true. Like, like Million, you hit it on the nail. Like, Jeremy's mom was so traumatized she never changed her hairstyle and still wears the same costume on Halloween. Like, not only that, but there were a lot of parallels, and I think that's why Laurie, um, resonated with Corey, and I think that's why she was like, um, "Yo,
Milo over here causing mayhem.
Molly." She looks like Michael behind the bush. She's just like
I'm gonna get you.
just sitting there
I'm gonna
watching.
get you, cat.
But and sorry, that keeps happening. But there was a parallel, and I think part of the reason Laurie was attracted to Corey, not attracted like sexually or like, but just there was an emotional connection between the two because Laurie understood the fact that Corey was being blacklisted for what he did. You know what I mean? Like, she understands that
Rightfully so.
being a castaway from society, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why the two of them connected. Now, I think the thing with Corey is, at least for what's happening with him and Michael, I think there's a few different ways to look at it, and I think that's why I've said that ends is being misunderstood. Like, Josh, you bring up a good point. With Corey needing Michael's mask and taking it, it seemed like there was a subplot of Corey framing Michael for the new murders and taking off with Allison until Laurie rushed that, or ruined that, excuse me.
Ruin that, yeah.
And that's interesting too. Like, that's an interesting way of putting it. Um, Hold on, let me finish this thought, and then I'm gonna put her upstairs because she's kind of starting to make me mad. Um, but I think it's interesting this idea that um, you got her.
Wifey to the
I
rescue.
know.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Julia.
Um, but there's this idea, I think, that Laurie and Corey connected because there was this connection. She understood the fact that Corey was an outcast. And there's different ways to interpret what happened to Corey. Obviously, I know there's been some people that have thought that Corey, Corey killed Jeremy on purpose. And I don't think that's true. I didn't get that vibe from him. I actually thought that's where I thought um, that Roanne Campbell did a really, really good job, actually, because he was a very different person at the beginning of the film than he was at the end of the film. Like, as much of a legend as Myers was in this town, Corey at the beginning of the film, when he was just a babysitting teenager who was just trying to like be a good guy,
Mm-hmm.
would not have walked into a sewer and put his hands on Michael Myers' throat. Like, that would not
He
have
would
happened.
he would
Like,
not have
you know what I
he would
mean?
have not have
Yeah,
went toe to
that would
toe
have
with Michael
no
Myers.
way.
Yeah.
But again, I think there's some different interpretations. Now, when we're talking about the Laurie or the Laurie, not the Laurie and Michael, the Corey and Michael connection.
That's
And
that specific. Are you talking about that specific scene where like,
yes, when Michael has him by the neck
yeah,
and like there he's looking into his eyes. And you guys let me know in the chat what you think, and Miguel, I'm gonna get your thoughts on this too. In my head, and at least the way that I took it, I don't think that that was a Jamie from like a Jamie Lloyd situation, like a Halloween 4 or 5, where when she touched Michael's arm and Uncle, when when she touched his arm, I don't think that, um, I don't think that the evil
for a
transferred
brief
to
second.
Corey.
For a brief second, I thought that, and I was gonna get so mad. I told Bragg probably saw me. I was like, I'm late. I'm about to leave. This is bullshit. I don't
Yeah,
like this.
yeah,
But it didn't come to fruition like that. But I just thought it was a weird thing to
yeah.
do to someone that's traumatized like that.
Right.
So that's
But
all
here's
I'm
the thing.
saying.
I don't think that the evil transferred to Corey in that moment.
I
I don't
don't.
think that at
I'm
all.
not in that camp either.
I
No.
think if I think Corey was already at this point. I think Corey was already very damaged and already very emotionally unstable. And I think when Michael drug him into the sewer and Michael had him by the throat, and he was very. Go back and watch it. Corey was scared. I mean, he knew
Hmm.
exactly whose eyes he was looking into. And I think
Yeah.
when Corey looked and saw Michael through all the cobwebs and looked into his those black lifeless eyes, as Loomis would say, I think Corey realized exactly who he was looking at. And I think in that moment, Corey was like, "I'm gonna make other people, I'm gonna make people that hurt me feel the same way that he just made me feel."
Yeah. It
I
was
think
like it.
he, I think Michael just like I know you're making a point. Josh and Corey literally got pushed over the edge of that bridge, but I
Yeah.
think that was
Yeah.
just the moment that solidified for Corey like this is it. It just pushed him over the edge of insanity at that moment. The
That
fear of,
was.
oh my God, I'm looking at Michael Myers right now and he has me by the throat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I don't. I
That
think
was
that
like
was
the.
just. I don't know. That was my interpretation of that scene.
That was the physical representation of you looking into the pit, and if you look long enough, eventually the pit will look back. I think that's how it goes. Like that was literally the physical like representation of that. Like literally, like the darkness of Corey was basically looking back at him, and I think at that moment, Corey kind of like welcomed that evil that was actually inside him,
Yeah.
and which went to the happen, which ended up happening whenever he killed the old man because
Hmm.
Corey could have easily ran away, but Corey just said, "You know what? I'm gonna go 12 combo stabby stab on this poor old man."
Yeah.
And it was just after he stared at Michael and realized just exactly who he is. When he finally met the true embodiment of evil, he realized that he was similar to Michael, therefore accepting everything that he did
Yeah.
as back then. And obviously, yeah, it came to the point of like Corey just wanted revenge. This is pretty much what it was. He wanted revenge
Yeah.
on the town that outcasted him.
I don't think
100%.
Corey. I
Couldn't
don't
agree
think it
more.
was that Corey and Michael were both pure evil. Like I think at the end of the day, Michael is the one that's pure evil.
Hmm.
I think this proves my theory in that David Gordon Green said, I think it was in an interview. I'll have to go back and double check, and I might even do a video about this at some point. But David Gordon Green said an original idea was that Corey realizes at some point in the movie he doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to be a killer. He's not like Michael, which I think is stupid. I think to have him and Michael go on a literal brutal killing spree together, and then Corey be like, "Never mind, man, I'm not you." Like I think that would have been like, okay, are you joking me right now? Like you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
teamed up with Michael friggin' Myers,
I
and you're
thought
just gonna be like, "Never mind, I'm not a killer." Like that's weird to
another,
me, you know?
yeah, but that double team between the doctor and the horny nurse.
Hmm.
I don't know why I said that. It's your fault I said that.
But
But
am I
whenever,
wrong though? I mean, let's
yeah,
be
right.
honest.
But whenever Michael was had the horny nurse up in the wall, like I didn't understand why Corey took off the bandage and looked at his hand. For a second there, I thought it was like, oh shit, is Corey like controlling Michael? I'm about to get up again. This is gonna be some bullshit, or like it's some weird like transference of
Yeah,
energy or
that
whatever.
was
I felt so weird.
that was weird. There were a couple of things between them that were very weird.
Yeah,
The
it didn't feel authentic or organic whatsoever.
when he was doing this thing, he looked like he was trying to use the Force. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Or he was doing like the Dragon Ball Z thing. Like I don't know. It was very strange. I think he was just like I think he was trying to like imagine what it would feel like to be Michael and to be like holding her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But I really enjoyed that moment. I even enjoyed when Corey killed the Mulaney cop. When he purposely like lured him into the sewer, knowing that
Oh my
Michael
god,
would be
I don't
there.
want to. I don't want to know about that scene right there. I made your dad speechless with my talk with my with the way I felt about that scene over there
Why?
in the sewer with that borderline like sensual kill that they had between
Oh.
Corey and Michael. Like, bro, old Michael was stabbing the shit out of a knockoff Biff Tannen, and Corey was just holding him, and you could see his face. It felt like he was like orgasmically enjoying it. I was like, I don't know about this. Corey, you're looking a little bit weird to me right now. You're looking a little bit sus. I don't like where we're going with this. I thought they were
Right.
gonna like make out, hug, or some bullshit like that. I
Miguel
was like,
said,
I don't
"This
like
is
this
becoming a
feeling.
very different movie."
Yeah, I was like, I don't like this. Whereas Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal, this is some shit. That's definitely not what I mean, guys. But what I'm saying is like that moment right there where we're just like, is that where they became like partners in crime? I
Yeah.
guess because I was like, this shit kind of weird. Like Corey, you're enjoying this a little bit too much
Well,
for someone that was disgusted at killing the old man. Like the way he just switched like that to the whole like, oh my god, I just killed this old man to Michael, stab him harder, daddy. Like stab him harder. Like it was
well,
like,
I think he
ugh.
realized he enjoyed it, and I think he realized he felt like he was getting revenge. Like when
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it was interesting. Like I don't know, I think that scene in particular was strange. You know, not necessarily the Corey hand thing was weird when Michael has the nurse up against the wall and he kind of like
Mm-hmm.
turns and looks at him before he like goes to stab her. Like that was cool and that was very classic Michael, and I really enjoyed that scene.
Yeah.
But the scene with the Mulaney cop that dated Allison, I first of all that was legitimately pretty creepy when you're just seeing the flashlight and it's like the flashlight goes and
Yo,
you can see
and you
Michael like
see
he's
Michael
like
just like
you can
in the
see him like
corner.
leaning against the wall and then he
Yeah,
turns and
yeah,
Corey is leaning against the other wall and then he turns again and then Michael runs out and grabs him. But that was the first time where I think in the film we realized it was like, oh, Michael's pretty weak. Like he's pretty weakened at this
yeah.
point,
He's
which
old.
listen, I know a lot of people really, 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 really had a problem with seeing Michael weakened and injured, but like not injured, but just old. I mean, old. But
My man is injured.
listen, you
My
have
man is
to
injured.
think about this. In 19 and I've seen people say, yeah, but after 1978, he was shot 6 times and stabbed in the eye and stabbed in the abdomen, and
Shot in the
he ended up being
face.
fine. But at the same time, though, they arrested him and he got medical attention. Here's the thing: after Halloween Kills, that man, listen, that dude has been shot probably 15 times in his lifetime. He has had a
Mm-hmm.
pitchfork to the back. He has been stabbed in the back, literally. He has been stabbed with the pitchfork. He has been all kinds of beaten, all kinds to hell. Like, you name me another 61-year-old man that could take that and then 4 years later be back to taking out like emergency response teams. Like, no, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It makes sense. That's why I'm kind of okay with Michael being like like having to kind of limp along and be helped along, which is I think why I enjoyed the Corey thing so much, because I don't think, again, interpretation with Corey, I don't think Michael saw something in Corey or Michael saw an evil in Corey and was like, ooh, you're like me. I don't think it was anything like that. I don't think Michael cares about anybody. Michael is still Michael. Even if he's an older, decrepit Michael, Michael is still Michael. He never gave a shit about Corey. He didn't. I think the thing with Corey is that Michael realized he couldn't do it anymore and he needed somebody, like he needed that Uber driver to bring bait to him, you know what I mean? And I think Corey was that Uber driver. Corey was that vessel for Michael to continue doing what he did. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
I
I
actually
did
I
you would you say this though? If Corey would have kept up with the charade of like giving Michael more kills, do you
mhm.
think Michael would have eventually got? Because you know the whole thing, like when he killed Biff Tannen,
Well,
you could feel
that's what I
that,
was gonna
you could see
say.
that. But I was gonna say, like, if he gave Corey enough kills, do you think Michael would have just been like, I don't need you anymore? Snap.
Maybe I think so, because and that goes back to the whole the more he kills, the more he transcends thing from Halloween Kills. And I think it was very interesting, and a lot of people didn't like this, but I kind of like chalked it up to it like it's just another weird thing that, like, again, the weird unexplainable things about Michael, like why does he tilt his head and how does he do this and how does he get from point A to point B. Those are the things that make Michael seem supernatural. Those are the things that are
Mm-hmm.
interesting. And when he I kind of enjoyed when they were fighting with the Biff Tannen guy, the Mulaney cop, and you could tell he was like he was hurt. Like Michael was like trying to stand up and he couldn't, and like whatever. And when Corey was like, "Get up, get up, get up," and he was like yelling at Michael, like trying to like egg Michael on to get
Show
back
me how
up.
you do it.
Yeah.
Get him, cuz.
Do your thing, cuz. But like when there was a moment when Michael stabbed him, like, and he actually killed him for the first time, and he
Mm-hmm.
started doing the like when
Adrenaline.
he was doing the shaking. Everybody was like, "Ugh, is he having like a seizure or a stroke? Like what is wrong with him?" But I
Wait,
think
what are
it
you
was
talking? What are you talking about?
when Michael stabbed the
Oh,
Mulaney
okay.
cop for the first time, and then he started like it was like he was having a seizure. He was like shaking and stuff, and I think that was him, the adrenaline rush of like it's almost like him powering up. You know what I mean? It's like his health
Mm-hmm.
bar grew a little bit right there, and then it's like every time he stabbed him, his health bar grew a little bit more and a little bit more. Um, and that's why he just kept like he kept on doing it and kept doing it. And there's a moment, Michael was kind of limping along the entire time, but as soon as he killed Biff, and it's one of my favorite scenes, and you also hear the ba da dum ba da dum ba da 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 when Michael kills him and he takes the knife out of the rock. When he stands up, Michael actually like stands up straight for the first time, like okay, daddy's home, like, you know what I mean, like he
Mm-hmm.
actually stood up straight for the first time, like, okay, this is, yeah, I'm back,
Yeah.
I don't know, there was something about that. It was very weird, like, don't get me wrong, it was a strange sequence, but I kind of enjoyed it. Like it almost made me enjoy it even more because it was weird, if that makes sense, you know.
I just feel like I
Exactly,
feel
he was
like
leveling up.
I feel like if Corey was just
Hmm.
hiding in the corner, like still like if he was hiding in a corner and he was and Michael's still killing Biff Tannen, and then he like had that moment of leveling up, I would have felt much better than just Corey just holding Biff. And I'm just that scene right there just was like a little off putting. But the moment when Michael kind of gets that adrenaline boost of killing, um, I think that right there was probably like a very it was a very like Michael's back, guys. Michael's back.
Yeah.
And I think and I agree with Million. He said Mike was like a retired bodybuilder forced to do 12 reps on the spot. Stood up
Hmm.
tired as shit in relief. Like I like
Yeah.
he was just so tired, but like it's almost as if like you've been out of the gym for so long, but then the second you start cranking those weights back up, like your body you start getting more blood in your system. You're like, oh shit. So this is how this like, so you get your feelings back. You
Yeah,
start to get
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
bearings
yeah.
back in together. So I just feel like if Corey would have kept up the charades with like giving Michael kills, I feel like we'd have gotten like a different Michael at the end with Laurie. I genuinely think so. If they really want to perpetuate the whole the more he kills, the more he transcends, it's like, bro, the man's had 4 years of not killing anyone, I assume. That's what
Right.
I think. And then all of a sudden he's getting kills and kills and kills and kills, and then boom, we're back to Halloween Kills Michael.
Yeah.
Obviously not to that caliber, but you know what I
Right.
mean.
Well, and point too. Michael didn't work with Sartain, even though Sartain had the biggest boner for wanting to. He was obsessed. So Michael choosing to work with Corey must be from being so weak. I completely agree. I don't think Michael ever cared about Corey.
Mm-hmm.
Corey meant nothing to
Nothing.
Michael other than this guy is allowing me to kill. He's
Mm-hmm.
allowing me to get what I want, so I'm going to keep him around. Until, of course, where to the point where Corey got angry after Laurie was doing her knocking back and forth against the wall, which
her
was
like
incredibly a
her
badass
like
moment, I have
quasi
to say.
like Doc Holiday kind of thing,
Yeah,
tombstone. Like yeah,
yeah,
it was
right.
pretty dope.
But like after he got mad at Laurie and after Laurie confronted him about evil and about darkness and about like choosing what is influencing you and like trying to be better and like Laurie was
Mm.
trying to help him, and when she said stay away from Allison, somebody I wanted to bring this comment up and I don't know where it went. um I'll have to find it, but somebody um forgive me if I don't remember who said this, but um there's two things that kind of came to mind. In my head, the first thing that I thought of when Michael went and stole the mask was he was almost angry at Michael for not killing Laurie. He was like, "Okay, you could never do this, so I'm going to." You know? I think he was
Mhm.
angry at Michael, or maybe he was really trying to frame Michael so that he could run away with Allison, which goes
Oh
into more of
yeah,
the
who was it
idea
that said that?
that more goes into the idea that Corey really doesn't want to do this anymore. He's just, he's just doing it there because I also think it's kind of that scene was kind of funny too because like Corey talks to Laurie and he gets all pissed off, and then he storms onto the sewer and he walks in the sewer, and bro, he gets there and Michael is just standing there. like he's not sitting up. Michael is literally just standing there and he's looking at the ground, and then Corey he just goes and lifts his head up, and then Corey puts his hands on him, and it's just funny because it's like, it's like the I don't know, it's like the stereotype when the two villains are working together and then they start to argue, and as soon as Corey put his hands on him, Michael like lit up and he was like, nope, and he
Yeah.
shoved Corey back down and went to kill him, but the way they were like,
It was like if you put the
it was just like back and forth.
if you
That
put
was
the
kind of
Scooby Doo
funny to me.
chase scene, it would fit. If you put the Scooby Doo chase scene or
Yeah,
the SpongeBob Mayhem chasing scene song, like it would definitely fit on that scene.
yeah,
And I thought that scene was pretty dope though, the way it just like panned through the sewer
yeah.
and
It
you kept
stayed
seeing
static on
closer.
that
Yeah.
one. It just stayed
Yeah.
still on that shot, and you just watch them fight.
Mhm.
But I even like I don't know. I that was kind of interesting too. That was a moment where it was like, okay, Corey is 1,000% unhinged. You know what I mean? He completely is.
J-
Like when
Jada said Michael was buffering in that sewer till Corey touched him.
he really was though. Like Corey was like a foot away from him before Michael went, and like actually looked up at him. Like
He
he
was
was
like
literally just standing there like static in the
yeah, he was
sewer
like an
until Corey
MP.
got close to him. You know?
He was just like an NPC character until like you got up close to him, press X, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Whoop! Okay, now I'm talking."
Now
Yeah,
I'm
it's kind of
awake.
like that. Yeah.
Now I'm awake and I'm choking you.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it was very funny. But like at the moment when Corey like tackled Michael and punched him in the face, and Michael just laid there for a second, and he took the mask off and he said, "You're just a stupid old man in a Halloween mask," and kept walking. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And as soon as Michael went, zoop, and just like turned his head and looked, I was like, and that was the moment he knew. He
Shouldn't have been
fucked
talking
up.
shit.
I was like, okay. I was like, this is it. It's like, here we go.
Yeah.
My boy's back. Like, and at that point, it was just like, okay, Michael's pissed. Like, he's full tilt. Michael is back.
Hmm.
He's like gonna,
Yeah.
and this is an interesting thought too. I know we're skipping over so much. Like, and again, that was what we said at the beginning. Like, there's no way we're gonna be able to talk about everything right now. There's no way. But we're just kind of hitting on big points and talking as we go. But do you think that Michael let Corey steal the mask? Like, could Michael really have taken Corey in that moment? Because I feel like he probably could have taken Corey. I really do.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
No, because again, he was, that was like one kill. That was like one kill
But
after
they had
after.
killed. No, they had killed multiple people at that point. They had both
Oh
killed
yeah, that's
multiple
true.
people by that point. And then
Yeah.
literally Michael left there and went and battled battled Laurie in the kitchen and killed
Hmm.
Corey. So like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I don't know. I feel like Michael could have taken him, and I don't know if Michael, because Michael had been watching Laurie, like he already like he had been following Corey around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I was happy to see. I was actually kind of worried that there would be no stalking from Michael, and I was actually like pretty pleased, to be completely honest, to know that um, to know that some of those stalking scenes, like when Michael was watching Laurie, like that was actually Michael. That wasn't Corey in a mask. That was actually Michael standing there watching. You know, and
Yeah.
I appreciated that actually.
Well, Epic Retro Time, you said maybe Michael let Corey take his mask to lead him to Laurie. But
I kind of think possibly.
Michael didn't know Corey knew Laurie. That's my thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, so like it's kind of improbable for that fact. So like I don't really know why Michael let him. I don't think Michael let Corey take the mask. I think Corey just got the better of him because again, it's just like a teenage boy
Hmm.
who has the quick strength to put an old man down, take his mask, and then jet out of there. It's kind of like it makes sense. But then for Michael to get up and be like, "Oh, bitch, you took my mask. Now I'm gonna fuck you up." Like that
Yeah.
makes sense too. And I think it was just the fact that Michael was following Corey
Hmm.
throughout his kills that he had before he got to Laurie.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
but
that's probably what happened.
like Million, you had said Michael isn't interested in Laurie. Josh said Michael had already been to Laurie's house before the final fight, and that's true. Michael was standing there, like Art just said. It was pretty creepy when Michael was standing there watching Laurie behind the tree. Like he watched Laurie, like which first of all, it was kind of strange that Laurie sat there and watched Corey and Allison like make out and start stripping as they walked up the stairs. Like I was like, bro,
That was very. Did you
go
did
get
you
a
notice how
beer or
that was?
something. Like like why are you just standing there watching them go up the stairs? That's kind of odd, you know.
Did you notice how similar that shot looked from the original Halloween?
Oh yeah, it's very
From like
similar.
Michael's
Yeah,
perspective, seeing
when
her his
Annie's walking
sister.
around Lindsay's house. Yeah,
Yeah, or also
or
whenever Michael's sister went up with her
yep.
skater boyfriend. Like I thought that
Ooh,
was
I
pretty
didn't even
cool.
think about that. That's pretty interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a play on a play of a scene. You know, that's
a
interesting.
play on a play of a scene. Yeah.
But the point I was making about Million and Art and Josh, what you were saying is like I think that's just another thing that we'll never know the answer to, and it's a good thing that we'll never know the answer to.
Hmm.
Does Michael obviously in Halloween 2018 he didn't care about Laurie. He didn't. Laurie was not his focus.
Hmm.
Um, but I think, I mean, at this point
What
now,
if?
does he remember who she is, or at least recognize her? Not. I mean, I'm not saying he
No.
knows she's Laurie Strode who tried to burn him, but does
What
he at
if?
least recognize her at this point to be like, I know, like I recognize you. You know, like is there a little hint of that there now, or what? Like that's another just talking point that we'll never get the answer to. That's just an interesting thing about Myers. You know?
What if Laurie Strode built that house where they destroyed Michael's house? Because they say they
Doubtful.
demolished the build. They demolished the
Yeah, but
building. So who knows?
that's doubtful. I don't think that
I
would
don't
happen.
know. A property is a
That's weird.
property.
That'd be
Property
weird.
makes money. A business is a
That'd be
business.
weird.
Money talks. You got to build that. You got to. They
That
demolish a
would be
house.
weird.
Hey, guess what? That house got to get sold again. That's
That
all I'm
house
saying.
was literally the source of all of her trauma, and her daughter ended up dying there. Like that's weird. That's a very strange. That'd be a very strange thing to do. I
Can't
don't know.
think. Can't think. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's all I'm saying.
That would
It's
almost
odd
be
for
just as strange as Corey sleeping on Jeremy's like bloody spot on the ground.
that was a weird scene too.
That was very strange. I was like,
That
that's
right there,
odd.
at that moment right there, I was like, yeah, my man's gone. There's
Yeah.
no sane person that wants redemption or is going to get redemption is going to sleep on the very spot, bloodstained spot of where his first accidental kill was. That right there, I was like, I don't care if you get kicked out. Go to fucking Allison's house. Go
Yeah.
sleep with Laurie.
Yeah. It
Like
was very strange.
like instead of getting kicked out and not going to like your girlfriend's place, you go to the spot where you committed your first kill.
Yeah. It was
Like that
very,
right
very
there,
strange thing.
right there, I was like, yeah, you're definitely gonna be a killer.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. Million Ideas said he ran away from her in 2018, didn't go after her in kills. He may recognize her, but he don't care. According to David Gordon Green, he isn't out for revenge. I don't think he's necessarily out for revenge. I don't think that's why he went to the house. I think he just followed Corey to the house with Allison. And I think
Mm-hmm.
when he got there and he was sitting there like watching Corey go up, like he watched Corey go in the house and then Laurie pulled up. And I think when Laurie got out of the car and he looked at Laurie, because as soon as Laurie went to look at him, he backed away and left, and that kind of goes back to like the sneaky he's hiding in the shadows, Michael, which I liked. But was there a little bit of like, oh, like oh she tried to kill me, like you know what I mean? Not that he was scared. I'm being silly to make a point, but I think I don't know. I think there was just something when he saw Laurie. He was like, "You, I know you. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
you. I don't care about you, but I know you.
Well,
You know what I mean?"
I
I think there was
also
a little bit of that.
yeah, I also think that Michael is cognitive enough to understand that he is a wanted man in the
Oh
town.
yeah,
Literally,
he's
like
definitely
number
he's
one.
not an idiot.
So he doesn't. Yeah, I know,
He's
but
not.
he doesn't want anyone to know that he's out and about. Like that doesn't matter whether it's Laurie Strode or anything. For all he cares, it's the same bitch that like said, Michael, evil dies tonight, or something like that. Like it's like he knows that he cannot be noticed at all. Otherwise, they're going to be on a hunt for him again.
Right.
So and when he saw Laurie, I think he was just like, oh shit, like I don't want her to see me. Go, like hide,
Yeah.
because like he is still like um a ghostly shadow of Haddonfield still. Like no one knows where he is. Which, by the way, I feel like if I was the sheriff department, I would search that tunnel.
Well, but that's another interesting
Just
thing
saying.
that I kind of that's something that I didn't like about the movie is I wish we kind of would have gotten a little bit more of like what happened after kills because
Mm-hmm.
we knew that the house was like the Myers house was demolished. We knew that. Poor Big John and Little John, they renovated the crap out of that house and it ended up getting demolished. But whatever. Uh,
That's the
but
housing market.
I that's the 2022 housing market for you. But I think um, oh, so I literally was forgetting what I was saying for a second. I think something that I wish we would have dove a little bit more into is like you can't tell me that like they didn't have like investigations and search parties of police officers and FBI agents and whatever else like sweeping Haddonfield for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I also think it's interesting. Again, it's like the shaking after he killed the guy, or it's like, does he know Laurie or does he not know Laurie? It's like the why did he let Corey help him? It's those little things that just that give him that weird supernatural edge that don't necessarily make any sense. But another big question is why didn't he kill the homeless people that lived outside of the sewer? They could have very, very easily been super easy prey for him, and
Yeah.
he never killed them, you know,
Yeah.
and like because like even the homeless
And I
guy
feel like
when
if that homeless guy would have went to the cops, I feel like the cops wouldn't have been like, "Oh, you're just a crazy homeless person." I feel like that would have been like a big lead. Like I would have like I would have went for that. But I
yeah
think that tells us that after the event of Halloween Kills, there was a major search party, and the sheriff department or whoever was investigating got so many phony calls of like Bigfoot, like I saw Bigfoot in my backyard, or like I saw
yeah yeah
Michael
yeah yeah
run around the
yeah
street. So I think they like slowly started dying out the whole investigation because it was like
hmm
we're never gonna get a good lead to find Michael because it's always gonna come up empty
well
handed.
and people forget and it's like at some point
Mm-hmm.
I mean it's part of the
4
message of
years?
the whole
Hell no.
it's
4 years? Hell no.
would you have
Uh-uh.
moved away from Haddonfield?
10 out of 10. That's another thing. I would have much rather it be like all of the Haddonfield citizens leave and then like another rush of different people come in to live there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Kind of like how they did with like the Texas Chainsaw without the bullshit gentrification kind of thing. But
Yeah.
like just a new wave of people coming in
Right.
and trying to like, I guess like not rebuild this town, but like make a new life at this town that somehow for some reason is has a great open market for houses. So like it's like it would have been cool to see that, but I get the whole idea of like the story, this movie, this franchise in of itself is all about Laurie Strode and Haddonfield. Um, I wanted to when you were mentioning about Laurie Strode, about Michael Myers watching Laurie. Jada mentioned something in the comments. He said Sandra sitting out on her deleted scene. Sandra sitting out on her front porch in the evening, and Michael pops out from behind the tree, and she can't tell anyone. It just happens every night. Do you know how much of a bitch move that is? How petty Michael would be? I don't think Michael would be that petty enough to do that, but at the same time, I feel like he would. But because it's just I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
dark. That is dark right
It's
there.
really dark.
That is
Yeah.
really, really, really dark.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, man. Uh, MR Car Productions said, by the way, the lady outside the grocery store accusing Laurie from Michael returning and killing is pointless. Laurie did not provoke Michael and made him kill in Haddonfield. Yeah, but I think that goes back to like the misinformation concept from Halloween Kills. Like, I mean, obviously Laurie really did. She didn't do anything to provoke him.
It was
Sartain was
all
really Sartain's the one to blame for all of this. You know what I mean?
no, but the reason for the lady accusing Laurie is because of Tommy. Because Tommy pushed the narrative that this is for Laurie Strode. This is for her. Like, we're going to
Honestly,
kill
yeah,
Michael
you're not
Myers
wrong.
for Laurie
You're not
Strode. And he
wrong.
like made this entire mob mentality. It failed. People died. They killed the wrong person. Like, if and Tommy's dead. Like he's dead. Like
when
they
he
didn't present him.
when
So
he
you have only one
randomly
person left.
when Tommy randomly like without any explanation just randomly burst into Laurie's hotel room and Laurie's like or her hotel room. She stayed at the Ritz, no, her hospital room, and he walked in, and Laurie's like, "Tommy," and he goes, "He's on his way here, but I just want you to know, I'm gonna fucking kill him. I'm gonna kill him for you. You protected me, 40." And she's just
Kill him.
like,
Yeah.
"What?" Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that whole like Tommy was just like, "Laurie, I'm gonna save him. I'm gonna save you from him. He's on his way here, and I'm gonna help you." It was just like, first of all, your breath smells like fish and eggs. Second of all, can you take like 3 steps backwards for a minute because you're just breathing
No,
right in my face?
because when they started like chasing Trivoli, uh you heard Laurie Strode say like, "Get him, Tommy, get him!" Like that
Yeah.
was pretty much solidifying that like this is all for Laurie Strode, and
Well, even
people didn't hear anything about it.
Lori even went out in the crowd and she was going, "Michael! Michael!" Like she was screaming for Michael, even in the whole
Hmm.
Evil Dies Tonight crowd when Anthony Michael Hall was jumping over chairs and like, you know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. It
Hmm.
just, it's interesting. It's I don't know. I still think the Evil Dies Tonight kid thing could have been so much cooler than it was.
Yeah,
I really
but
do.
I
It
think
bothers me so much.
But one thing I wish they really delved into was I wish they really honed in on that aftermath of what happened in Halloween Kills, because we got like little bits and pieces with Laurie, and then with Allison with the DJ, which I think someone said it. They said the Million. You said the lady and the DJ accusing Laurie isn't pointless. It's the exact point of the theme. With Michael gone, people made up their own reasons and causes, and explained in the movie's opening. Like yeah, like a
I
hundred
agree with that.
percent.
Yeah.
Like after the events of Halloween Kills, like who is there to blame?
Right.
Because
And
Michael's gone
people are gonna
and
find
Tommy's
somebody to
gone.
blame. Yeah.
Yeah,
People are
like
always
and
gonna
they
find somebody to blame.
and they chose Laurie Strode and Allison because they were the main focus of the entire and Karen and well not Karen because she died too, but like they were the main focus of this mob because I nonetheless like I just think that I would have much rather enjoyed them delving into the after effects and not just
Yeah.
solely focusing on the after effect towards Corey, because it was
Well,
mainly focused on Corey because they needed someone else new to choose as the embodiment of evil because Michael's gone. So they needed someone to like you know you are evil. You're
yeah.
evil. Michael's gone, but you're the next evil, and I don't trust you.
Well, and I can agree with that. And like even kind of going back to like that just made me think of again, Corey was kind of the vessel that we used to dive into um to dive into like the trauma of the town and how trauma and how emotional damage can affect people, and how the town sees Laurie. And I think to people who complained about the Corey thing, and I know this is kind of a little bit switching gears, but like I think to anybody who complained about the Corey thing, like I think you have to think to yourself, like, it seems crazy to have taken this, and I know a few people. Someone said, where is it? 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 Epic Retro Trime had said, I just want to see the version of this movie that took place on the same night as the first two movies. The 4-year time jump just didn't make sense other than including Corey. And while I kind of agree with you, in a
No, I
certain
agree with
sense,
that.
I agree in the sense that I would love to know what the story would have been if it was all just going to take place on the same night. I think the biggest plot holes there would have been Laurie was down for the count that night. She literally was like, I mean, she was done. She couldn't have had another fight with Michael if you would have had that on the same night. There's no way she could have, because she was literally stapled open. I mean, like there's no way. She had just had major surgery after fighting him the first time. Second of all, I don't know if it would. It could have worked, and who knows? Maybe if we knew that original story and what they were planning to do, and hopefully we will know that someday. Maybe it would have been like, oh, that would have been great. Like that would have been so cool to set them on the same night. But my problem wasn't necessarily that they set it 4 years later. I just think it was an interesting choice, and I shouldn't say problem because it's not really it's not a problem. It's just a matter of like, well, that was interesting. Like that was a different way to take this, because essentially they could have just focused on Laurie and about the town's um about the way that the town viewed her and kind of blamed her for things, and dove into that, and Allison and Lindsay. Something that I didn't like was that I kind of felt like Lindsay and Hawkins were just kind of there. Like, I loved them when they were on screen, but it was just like, okay, these are legacy characters. You know what I mean? Like, Laurie
Yeah,
and, like, or not
I
Laurie,
thought
Lindsay and
you were.
Hawkins, like, needed to be in the movie a little bit more, and they
Yeah,
weren't.
you were so in love with Lindsay and
I
her role in
was.
Halloween Kills, but then she ends up becoming emo tarot reader card bartender slash yeah. I was just so I thought they kind of did throw away a lot of legacy characters, but then at the same time it's like, well, what do you do with them after the events of Kills? Like there really isn't much left to do
Fair.
except for character development, I guess,
Yeah.
because they
Well,
can't really do any action.
and
And I'd agree with you with the fact with the legacy characters, because they really honed in on the idea that, like, could it be Hawkins that kills Michael? Could it be Laurie that kills Michael? Could it be Allison that kills Michael? Or Karen that kills Michael? It was like, it could be anybody. But then they kind of threw that away and stuck with the whole Laurie versus Michael thing.
mhm.
And even we didn't even get the theory that we all thought. So it was still
Yeah,
like that bait and switch kind of thing.
somebody pointed this out on Twitter, and I was like, holy crap, you're not wrong. You realize the very first time that Hawkins or Lindsay saw Michael was after he was dead?
Mm.
Think about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Lindsay did not lay eyes on Michael until after he was dead in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very interesting, like, that, like, because Lindsay, even maybe more so, which, I don't know, Hawkins, you set up the whole, when Hawkins stops Loomis from killing Michael in 78 and stuff, like, you set all of that up, but it never really had a payoff.
Mm-hmm.
And again, while I really didn't, I genuinely did, I enjoyed the Corey and Michael thing, and I loved what they did with Laurie and Allison. I kind of felt like Hawkins and Lindsay were just kind of thrown to the side, and I didn't like that. That was something that I didn't like about the film. But to anybody, like, overall, to anybody that's saying that, that's saying that, like, the idea of Corey and stuff like that is, or the direction that they took, to anybody who's saying that that's crazy or outlandish, like, I ask you, Was Halloween Ends really any crazier than the Cult of Thorn, or Laurie like faking her death and Michael managing to find Marion and then find out where Laurie is 20 years later in California, or Michael and Loomis surviving a literal explosion in a hospital that originated like from the room they were in, like, or
Mm-hmm.
Michael being led around by his mom and how in Rob Zombie's H2, or Busta freaking Rhymes drop kicking him into a fire, like you know what I mean? Like it sounds crazy, and that kind of goes back to like that goes back to what I said at the beginning of the show when I looked at Julia and I was like, why am I enjoying this so much? Like I actually think it's decent. Like it's pretty good, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
the idea of Michael tag teaming killing with somebody is it's so crazy in my head, but actually there was something about seeing it, like actually seeing it play out, that I was like, this is working. Like this is actually like pretty cool. Like dare I say it was cool, you know. And listen, as far as the treatment of Michael, I would much rather see Michael as an old, you know, weaker, broken man than like the pawn of some religious cult or being led
Mm-hmm.
around by his mom. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think again, I think Michael was still, I think Michael was still true um, to his character. I think Michael was still Michael. He was just old Michael. He was just old Michael who couldn't do what he did before, and I think he knew that, and I think he used Corey to get to that. So, like, that's the thing is, I think everybody who is like, the story was just, or who is saying that you know Michael's treatment and what they did with the story is so crazy. It's like, but look at the rest of the franchise. It's really not any crazier than the rest of it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's just a kind of a random thought I had.
No, no, I get it because it's like the typical thing where it's like the forgotten hero that's been like out of the game for so long, and then he takes his cape back, but he's not as good as what he was, but he still gives it a good try. And
Yeah.
there's that young lively person that is willing to help him out or whatnot, but at the end of the day all had to boil down to the end
Right.
of that person. And I think that reminds me of like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Lost Skulls, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like Jones was like so old, but then you had Shia LaBeouf with his fucking slick back and helping him out with the whole travels, but then it ended up with like, you know,
Right.
good old Jones just giving the hat to Shia LaBeouf and says, "Here, you got it. I'm done." Like I think that's kind of what we were getting to, but not really. So don't quote me on that. I'm not comparing them to, but there are some similarities between that storyline and what we got with ends. So
Hmm.
you gotta understand like this is just like one of those storyline. This is one of the storylines of Michael Myers where they wanted to show Michael Myers later on in the years. Like, what would Michael Myers be like
Hmm.
X amount of years so far back that he's already old? Like, what would Michael be like during that time? And you got it. Like, he put his mask back on. He gave it a whirl. He killed a lot of people. But then obviously age comes back, and you see how it's made him slow and decrepit. And then at the end, it gave him that last hurrah, that last fight with Laurie Strode, and at the end, it proved to be his own downfall. His want to go back to being killing ended up being his downfall for
Yeah.
someone that at first wanted uh wanted wanted to just be left alone and die, I guess.
Yeah. Like I literally, I saw somebody on Twitter say that Michael was a little bitch in Halloween Ends,
It
and
kind of was
I
on first
actually,
second.
well, I quoted that the other day on Twitter, and I was like, listen, you might want to rethink that, my friend, because like,
I would want to go up against
literally,
Michael still.
literally, the dude has taken more of a beating than any other human being could possibly survive in his life. Like legit.
Yeah.
He in this movie he killed multiple people. He literally strong armed and lifted that chick up on the wall like he did with Bob in the first film and pinned her to the wall. He still listen. You can call him a little bitch all you want, and uh, you can say that he was weak or whatever. but the dude still literally one arm threw Laurie Strode across the room.
Yeah,
Like
turned her
as you
vertical.
said, literally was parallel going across the room.
Hmm.
Um, and she still managed to turn Corey's neck backwards. He's still, for a 65-year-old man that's been through a fire and been shot 15 times and been stabbed and hit and beaten, like bro, like
Yeah,
who
he
is
gets.
also been malnourished and not. I mean, like, come on, like, because he's still a human being. I think if anything, this trilogy. Now, obviously, he has that supernatural edge to him, but I think this
Mhm.
trilogy solidified that he's just a person. Like, he's just a human being at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, I'm still trying to think of more to say honestly with this movie because in regards to Michael, because like people are still like no matter what we say right now, I mean, we're just sharing our opinion at this point. But no matter what we say, like we're not going to convince a lot of fans that say like this isn't the Michael that they want.
yeah, yeah,
And we've really got to hone in the idea that this may not be the Michael that you wanted. And that's okay. This is what uh, Blumhouse Studios thought Michael would be at this day and
right,
age. Because all the other movies, Michael was still in his like 20s or 30s or yeah, you never really truly showed Michael as a 50, 60-year-old man.
mm-hmm.
And I think this was their way of representing Michael as if like, well, what happens if the shape never died during those years and just stayed sedated and chained to a fucking cinder block for X amount of years? Like, what would he be like? And they played around with that idea, and they gave us a decent story, and they really did tie their idea of the franchise or their chronological story up in a bow, I would say, from the original to 18 to kills and to ends. They really impressed me with how they were able to tie it up into a bow and not use
Yeah,
any other type of source material from all the other installments.
mm-hmm.
And I applaud Blumhouse for being able to create a original story that had some allusions to all the other franchises, but very little because
Yeah,
it was an original storyline from the first one, and they
mm-hmm.
created something really well with Old Man Michael. If I were to label this, I would call this Old Man Michael. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I would
Well, it
call
is.
Rob.
It is Old
I
Man
would
Michael.
yeah, and I would call Rob Zombie's Michael like Rob Zombie's Michael like Berserker Rob Zombie, and I would call
Berserker Michael. I like that.
that's how I would call him. I would call obviously the original Michael OG Michael, and when we get to like the 2000s and like 90s resurrection kind of thing, like I call that the Buster Rhymes Michael, because that was like you throw story out the window. It was all about getting famous people on that, like LL
Right.
Cool J and Buster Rhymes. That was the whole
Yeah.
point. You get some horror movie and you get some famous people in, and boom, ticket booms,
Yeah.
ticket sales. So
Epic Retrotron, I completely 1000% agree with you. He said, I think Ends will be the most talked about Halloween movie 10 years from now. So much to dissect, so many theories. I agree. And I actually think this is going to end up being a fan favorite as time goes on. Because, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, I mean, like, I don't know. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 was very divisive, but people adore that film.
mm-hmm.
Halloween H2O is pretty divisive, and a lot of people adore that film. Halloween 3, look at what happened with Halloween 3. I mean, Halloween 3
I
bombed,
personally
and
like
people
I
boycotted
personally liked
Halloween 3
that one.
for a long time
Mm-hmm.
until Halloween 3 gained its cult following. I think this is going to gain a cult following very, very easy.
Mm-hmm. I
The
agree.
horror end said, I'm just sad that the fan base turns on other Halloween fans. And then Million followed that up and said, every fan base has a toxic section. Soon as you hear that this isn't a blank movie or you're not a true fan, come out, you're talking to toxicity. I completely agree. And listen, you're right about that. Like, every fandom has that. Marvel has that. Star Wars has that. Dude, Star Wars fans go hard on each other. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I mean, just like it's kind of like, damn, like y'all gotta chill out a little bit. Like, it's just like a movie. It's just Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, would you calm down? But I mean, DC has that. Everything has that. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, seriously, every fandom has that toxicity. Slasher Fred said, if you guys have ever seen Escape from New York, Jamie Lee Curtis did the voice of the computer in the opening and was the voice over the loudspeaker. Yeah, I love Escape from New York, man. We'll cover that on Purely and Simply Evil someday. Um,
Yeah, Brad told me on season of the witch, the phone
yeah,
operator
she
was
did
Laurie
that as
Strode,
well.
was Jamie Lee
Yeah,
Curtis. I was like, oh shit, get it,
yeah,
girl.
yep, I agree.
Like still rocking the free world.
It's pretty cool. J-Dead said this trilogy will be looked at more favorably in 10 years. The initial shock has to settle for some fans. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that too. I think it was just a lot. I think it was a lot of unexpected, um,
Decisions.
a lot of unexpected and weird creative decisions. But I'll tell you what, every single person I've seen that's gone back and rewatched Ends has been like, I enjoyed it way more the second time I watched it.
Yeah.
You know,
This is
there
definitely
have
not a
been
love. It's not a love at first sight for sure. This is one that
no,
you definitely like grow
but
like with more views.
again, the people that loved it. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
Spoof, what's going on? Spoof said, "Wife and I loved the movie. We absolutely loved it. I did too. Like I told you, like at the beginning of the show, I said this was the first one of the trilogy that I walked out of and felt like with a smile on my face. Like I felt happy, you know? Not that
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. I really did. I loved watching the movies. I enjoyed the ride. I walked out of there with a smile, but I also kind of walked out of there like I had some reservations as well. But this one I was like, you know what? I am satisfied with that ending. I really
Mm-hmm.
am. Like 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that people are going to look back at this trilogy after the dust settles and they're going to look back at Halloween Ends especially and say, "You know what? That was a serviceable ending to Laurie Strode. It was a meaningful ending for Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode. You know, it was a meaningful ending for the people that were involved in the original that came back for this trilogy." Um, and that kind of even brings us to something that we didn't talk about was the ending, the final fight between Michael and Laurie, and um, like I said before, we're not going to get to everything. There's no way. I'm thinking of things right now that I'm like, we would have to go way back and like talk about certain things. So
Yeah.
again, this isn't the only show we're going to do on Halloween Ends. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, I was thinking, Miguel, we got to do another top 5 moments or top 10 moments or something. We did a top 10 moments on Purely and Simply Evil for Halloween Kills. We got to do another one for Ends after we watch
Oh
Ends.
yeah, that's true. We're gonna
Yeah,
have
that'll
to.
be fun.
Yeah, we got plenty of
Yeah.
guys. Listen, this review is not the end of Halloween.
So,
Trust me. I thought it whenever when the trailer came out, but the more we kept talking about it, and the day we watched it, I knew right from the get go we're gonna have more stuff to talk about because there's no way we could have gave this movie and the franchise justice
have y'all even
with
looked behind me?
justice
Like,
with with
it's got
with this
Halloween
review.
everywhere.
So and yeah, I mean Brad got me. I have a Halloween 4 poster. J-Dad, you probably like that. I have a Halloween 4 poster up here. So, but I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I guess to wrap up my my review of this movie, like I genuinely felt that this was a solid conclusion to a trilogy of this Halloween story. I thought it was a good conclusion to this trilogy. I was like, because it did a solid job, I would say. Even though it has some divisive opinions, I thought that the story felt consistent, strong, and it gave legacy characters their due justice, and that's really fucking
Uh,
hard to do. I
to
would
an
say,
extent. To an extent.
yeah,
I
I would
think.
say the only person I would say it didn't was Tommy.
Yeah,
That's it.
I was not a fan of Tommy, and
Yeah.
I do still feel like Hawkins and Lindsay deserved a little bit more. I mean, they didn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be the stars of the show, but I think they could have been around for some of the action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but I like that they survived. I felt that the final fight between Michael and Laurie, I found myself wishing it would have been a little bit longer. Like I wish they would have at least fought in different parts of the house, or like, I wish Allison would have been able to hop in there and fight him a little bit. Like it felt like we saw a lot of their final fight in the trailers, which I was hoping it would be a little bit more, a little bit longer, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so be it.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed like when like when she was like basically stabbing him to the table and stuff, and she was like talking to him, and I liked when she said, like, I've run from you, I've hunted you, I've tried to contain you, or like, whatever, but like, and like, I used to think that you were the boogeyman, but now I know you're just a man in a mask and stuff like that. Like, I thought that was kind of cool, like when they had a moment. And if you noticed, and I think this was a callback to Halloween H2O, when he reaches his hand out and her and Michael kind of like hold hands for a minute. She held his hand after she slit his wrist. She held his hand for like for a minute, and Allison was the one who actually like took her hand away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was. I
Call it trauma
enjoyed.
bonding. I don't know.
I think it was.
Fucking no.
I think that was Laurie being able to say goodbye to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing. Like even the cherry blossom things and.
She was saying goodbye to literally like a part
Right.
of her identity.
Yeah, for real. I mean, the thing that has driven her to be what she was for the last 44 years. This
Mm-hmm.
trauma, this damaged person, this Sarah Connor. She keeps guns and all over her house, and her house is a booby trap and all this stuff. And I think it was just it. Her conclusion, I think, is part of why I feel satisfied, and I feel like, you know what, me and Halloween Ends are good. Like we're good in my book.
Like
I
say
feel
what you will.
satisfied with it.
Like say what you will with Michael Myers and what you did to him. I thought you ended Laurie Strode well, because you
Yeah.
can redo Michael Myers 10 years later. You could redo Michael
Yeah.
Myers however you want to see fit, but you ended Laurie Strode's story beautifully. I'll say
Well,
that.
and even if you bring Laurie Strode back, it's not going to be Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode. It's just not.
Yeah.
That was the end.
Yeah.
And Million said when Laurie holds his hand, she's making sure his pulse is completely gone. It wasn't goodbye or compassion. Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think it was. It was. I agree with you. I don't think it was compassion.
I love that.
I think it was more of the shock of like, whoa, it's over. Like this is really over.
Mhm.
Like I don't think it was like, no, don't die. Like it wasn't like that. I mean, she wanted him to die, but I think it was just like she was in shock. I think it was like when we saw the flashbacks to 78, and I think it was just like, I think it was her releasing all of that trauma in that moment of like,
Yeah.
like taking a deep breath. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Uh,
Well,
Sorry,
I was
Epic
gonna
Retro
say
Crime said her keeping the mask says something. Did she really let go?
yes.
I
I
think she did
agree.
too.
I think she did. You know why? Because after some rich white folks, how they kill fucking lions, tigers, and fucking bears, and how they mount it on the wall. That's exactly what I'm thinking Laurie did. She said, "Hey, look, this is my prize.
Yeah. Million said
Look at it.
keeping the mask is her trophy, like the Predator keeps skulls.
10 out of 10. I
Yeah.
believe that to my core. That's exactly what happened.
And I think to her, it's like, if the mask is with me, he's not. You know what I mean? Like I think it's just
Ooh.
I think the mask is just her. I think the mask is her, like, I think the fact that she kept the mask is just her reminder, like, he's gone. He's gone. And bro, she threw him in a meat grinder. She said, "Do your thing, cuz." Like, she literally
Yeah.
threw him in the meat grinder. Listen,
Yeah.
part of me was scared when she climbed up in there and like,
Oh,
all
I
of
thought she was
Haddonfield
going.
watching.
I thought
part of me
Michael was
thought
gonna
his
grab
hand-
her.
His hand was gonna go and grab her,
Yeah.
and I was like, no,
And then
no.
and then Allison screams and everyone's like screaming, and then it cuts to like Halloween ends and it's like dun 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 dun. Yeah. That would have been
Jaded
dope.
said, "I hope she Febreze the hell out of that mask." Yeah, dude, that mask smells like booty and balls. It's
Bro,
legit.
that mask is going in a shadow box. It's just gonna hang on a wall. You know what I mean? You know what a shadow box is? Like
Yeah,
how like
yeah.
it's just all the shit that happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe it.
But yeah, I listen. I was satisfied. Like, and I know a lot of people weren't. A lot of people, like, I have talked to people that were like, it just didn't do it for me. It wasn't a good conclusion. Like, But I
Yeah, people were texting you and messaging you, like giving
yeah
them their perspective of the movie because they were waiting for your
yeah
honest review. So I
and
wonder how they feel now, knowing how you feel about the movie. So
I think that like I like the fact talking about the conclusion again. God bless you.
bless you.
Again, I
Thank you.
think that it makes sense that to me at least, I like the fact that Laurie got her happy ending. I do. And again, I was somebody who felt like Laurie and Michael both should have died, but seeing it in person, that's the thing is everything about Halloween Ends, I felt like it never should have worked, but seeing it in it's things that I would have told you would have never worked, but seeing it in
Hmm.
person and actually seeing it play out in the film, I was like, okay, like my eyes
Yeah.
are open, like I can get with this, I can
Hmm.
get with the Corey Michael tag team thing, and because I think they were still true to the characters. I think at the end of the day, this, Jamie Lee Curtis's performance got better and better from 2018 to Kills to Ends. I mean, I
From
think
from 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 the original to now, yes, 100%.
no, not even from the original. I just think her performance in these three films has been fantastic, and I think she has literally gotten better. She has embodied Laurie Strode more in each of them, and I really enjoyed seeing Laurie be Laurie again. Not trauma Sarah Connor Laurie, but seeing Laurie baking pies and talking to Hawkins and like having a life, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I enjoyed that, and I just, I don't know. I felt satisfied at the end. So it's not a perfect movie, but I felt very very satisfied.
All right. Well, here's the big question then for you. Rate it, my dude. What is the rating?
I'll tell you, if we would have gotten the original ending, the rating probably would have been a like -6.
Mm.
The original ending was, and I saw Viewer Anon confirm this. The original ending was Allison goes and knocks on Laurie's door, and Laurie answers it. And as Allison is talking, Laurie reaches out and lashes out and tries to strangle Allison because she has the mask. And Laurie is like, she like realizes what she's doing, and she's like, "You need to leave Haddonfield right now. Like, don't talk to me. You need to leave." And Laurie slams the door, like the evil transferred to Laurie, and Allison leaves Haddonfield. If they would have done that ending, I probably would have like turned in my Halloween card. I've been like, I'm good. Like, no, I wouldn't have done
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but yeah, that would have been a terrible ending.
I
Um,
gotcha.
but yeah, Million, that's another good point. I think people are confusing the ending of the trilogy with the ending of the franchise, so their expectations aren't matching what we had promised. That's what you have to remember. There's gonna be more. There's gonna be more, Michael. There is. Just
Mm.
chill out. There's gonna be more. I promise you there
Yeah.
will be, because it's a cash cow and people love it. Um, my rating right now, I'm trying to I know what it was when I walked out of the theater, and I'm trying to
Hmm.
think how it's gone up a little bit. Like the more and more I've thought about it, the more and more I think I've kind of fallen in love with it. Um, but seriously, I have. I think I've enjoyed it. I'm gonna say right now, it's
Don't
a
you say it.
strong 8.0 for me.
Okay. I was like, I read JD's comment. I said,
I know
don't you dare say
it's
that,
not
Brad.
J-Dad, it's not quite an 8.5 because again, I think there are things about it that I would have done a little bit differently, like the Hawkins Lindsay thing. I wasn't really wild about that. Um, but yeah, man, legit. Right now it's an 8.0. And listen, we thinking about it, the rankings of these, it's like okay, it's not Shawshank, you know what I mean? But like we give it a number based on how much we enjoyed it. I think for me, when I'm ranking a film, I'm thinking okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did I enjoy the film? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's my biggest like that's my biggest quota, or not quota, or not quota. What am I trying to say? Criteria for how I rank a movie. So what's your rating, Miguel? Mine's an 8.0 right now. Could go up, could go down.
Honestly, I'd have to stick with you with nearing that. I'd say probably like an 8.3 or even or just go back down to a strictly 8.0 because I feel the same way with you in regards to how they treated the legacy characters. I felt that the legacy characters could have gotten a little bit better treatment. I thought they got, just treatment. Yeah. I thought I thought that the legacy characters got just treatment, and I think that the story as a trilogy ended just perfectly as you'd expect, I'd guess. And if you were to follow the trilogy as the trilogy itself, the ending makes a lot of sense, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
So I would give that probably like an 8.2 or something like that, around that realm. It could
yeah,
go up and it can go down as well, solely on the fact that if I watch this a couple more times, there will be things that I love more and there will be things that I hate. I loathe.
hmm.
So yeah,
Well, and I
that's how
also
I'll stick
think
it.
I know there are people that are going to be like, he at 8.0, it wasn't that good of a movie, but I also factor in I didn't feel as emotional about 18 or kills as I felt about this one. Just knowing that it was the end and like just I felt more emotional about it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Evil Monsterism said, couldn't disagree more. I give this a 0 out of 10 because this was as much a Halloween movie as a Minions movie. And dude, I agree with that again. I can understand that. I'm not saying I agree, but I can understand that. Like, I can completely understand why people loathed Halloween Ends,
Hmm.
and again, I like seriously, I do, I get it. I don't completely agree with you because I felt, I think it just resonates with the choices they made are going to resonate more with some people than they do other people. And that's just the
Hmm.
way it is, And that's okay.
Yeah.
Again, it's okay that we can have these conversations. Um, Again, as we kind of near the end of this stream, like we're gonna continue to talk about this. We'll do our top 5 or top 10 moments or whatever. We'll, like we will continue to unpack this film as time goes on. We'll do our commentary. We'll do or a watch along or something like that. Like, well, um, we will continue to talk about this film and we will continue to talk about this franchise and these characters because I think there's still a lot left to be said, not only about Halloween Ends and not only about this trilogy, but also about this franchise and about the future of it, about the past. I mean, it's just, it really is, and I've heard people say this. It really is the James Bond or the Batman of, you know, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just, it's a franchise that it's the choose your own adventure of horror movies. So we will always continue to talk about it. And Art said he really hopes that we're still doing this podcast in 2099. And
Make it
if
about yourself now, buddy. Make it about yourself now,
if
Brad.
I'm still doing this what do you mean make it about me? What are you talking about? If I'm still doing this podcast in 2099, man, we're still if we're still kicking, and then we're doing a pretty good job.
I'd say, yeah.
People need to follow our diet. Art also said, "Can't wait to watch this trilogy or quadrilogy back to back next year." Me too. I told Julia that the other night. I was like, um,
You got to put your wife through a quadrility
no, but I
uh
said I can't.
day.
No, but no, not in one day. But I was like, I said I can't wait until like I can't wait until I can watch all three back to back and like see how they transfer from film to film. You know what I mean? And kind of
Hmm.
how it feels as a trilogy. Because I mean, I know we did our watch-alongs and stuff, but like it was still kind of broken up. So it'll be interesting to go back and watch.
Yeah.
Million said, here we go with the it's not a movie stuff again. You folks have a good night. These toxic people are off-putting. Yeah, good night, man. Don't worry about it, man. And listen, I know you guys are just talking. I don't think anybody was being super hateful or anything like that. We're all good here, guys. So, um, it said minions died tonight. Then Art said, "Are you guys doing a Christmas movie watch along?" Duh. I
Here,
mean, duh.
I'm pretty certain we're gonna do that a Christmas story and Christmas review. I'm gonna say that right now. I know we're gonna do that because
Oh yeah, I saw that
I know
today.
Brad's gonna be into that. Are we? I'm
Whatever.
pretty sure we are going to do a watch along of I can see it right now, guys. Art, here you go. This is what we're gonna talk about. We're probably gonna talk about the Grinch. We're probably gonna talk about his famous Christmas Vacation, and we're gonna do a watch along of that. I can almost guarantee that he didn't specifically
I
ask me yet, but I know it was on the fucking serving plate. I know for a
I
fact.
was thinking about it today. I want you to know I have so you I've told you this before. Christmas National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is my favorite movie of all time. And I've
Hmm.
got the poster up here next to my ends poster, and then this shelf right here I have my Clark Griswold Funko Pop next to my Michael Myers Funko Pop. I have the VHS of Christmas Vacation next to the VHS of Halloween. Like that's all. That whole shelf is all Christmas Vacation, Halloween stuff, dude. I
Oh,
love Christmas Vacation. I love the vacation movies in general. Which, by the way, they had Michael strapped to the top of Allison's car like he was Aunt Edna in the first vacation
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
They really did.
JDad in Epic Retro Time, 100%. We're gonna do Jingle All the Way too.
I'm not
That
really a
right there
Jingle
is
All the
mine.
Way fan.
That's that's my favorite. So if I gotta watch yours, you gotta watch mine,
Yeah, Home Alone 2 is
and
the
that's
best,
all
dude.
sus.
God, this is a lot of movies. Listen,
Yeah,
my favorite Christmas movies. I don't.
we've
Well,
already done
because
that. I think, haven't we?
no, we didn't do that. We didn't rank Christmas movies. We'll
Oh,
have to
okay.
rank them. We'll have to rank them. There's so many good
We
ones
did,
though.
and
Like the Home
I think
Alone
we did in a
films, Christmas
questionnaire. So,
Vacation. Yeah, we did it in like a Q&A, but we'll actually do it. Dude, I
hmm
love Christmas Vacation. I could quote that movie from start to finish. Like it's the only movie that I actually think I could probably do it. Like actually quote it all the way. I could probably do pretty
don't
good with Halloween too. But
don't do that in our watch along. Otherwise, we're gonna
no, I
get
won't.
flagged.
No, I won't. I won't. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be fun to sit
Hmm.
and unpack Halloween Ends more. As we kind of move into the later portion of Oktoberfest, which is kind of crazy to think about. Um, but we also, I know we have not, I promise you, we haven't forgotten about this. We have rescheduled this show like 18 times, and I'm still not 100% sure when we are actually going to do this watch along, but we are going to do a watch along of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. We are
We will,
also
guys. We will. That's
going to,
partially part of my fault, but we will definitely get that back on the schedule.
yeah, we are also going to do a either a watch along or a commentary. I'm not 100% sure yet of the producer's cut of Halloween 6, which is going to be a blast. And we are also going to finish out the very first Let's Talk Movies Oktoberfest. What?
What? Say it again. What were you gonna say?
We're also going to finish out the very first Let's Talk. What are you laughing at me for?
I thought you were talking about the Nightmare on Elm Street because that just went straight to the back burner.
Well, that's true. We did literally,
Yeah.
like it's, the Oktoberfest event started, and we were like, "Bye, Elm Street, like go away." We actually have a commentary for Elm Street 4 recorded, and we're like, it's recorded and it's done, and we're just waiting to do that, to release that and do that episode of Purely and Simply Evil. So,
Yeah.
but we'll as soon as the Halloween stuff dies down, we'll hop back into Elm Street, and then yes, I saw a couple people mention Black Christmas. Yes, we're gonna do Black Christmas. We'll do Christmas with the Cranks. See, we're just gonna switch. We're switching from Halloween Jamie Lee Curtis to Christmas Jamie Lee Curtis. Still lots of Jamie Lee Curtis. We're just switching to a different movie. But we'll
She'll
do
never get
Halloween stuff
away.
as well. We actually have there's a couple people that we're going to be going on other channels in the next couple of months as well, and a couple of collaborations that we want to do. We do have content planned for the rest of the year, like not all content obviously, but we're going to get back into talking about Marvel stuff. I feel like we haven't talked about Marvel on the channel in ages, and there's a lot of that stuff to catch up on.
Yeah.
I will say here's your little tease: is at the end of the Oktoberfest event, we are ranking every Halloween film: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, H2O, Resurrection, Rob Zombies 1, Rob Zombies 2, and the entire Blumhouse trilogy. We are ranking the Halloween franchise from top to bottom, 1978 through 2022, to cap out Oktoberfest. So that'll be coming
What
in
a
the next few
ride.
weeks as well. That's going to be a really, really good time. I actually really, really look forward to that show a lot. That may be like
Good.
one of the coolest shows we've ever done. And we also, if you look here, we are at episode number 95 of the main show, which is
Bonkers.
unbelievable to actually think about. Um, but we also have something really special planned for our 100th episode, and we're not gonna announce that yet. But for our 100th episode, we're gonna do something really cool as well. So
Stay tuned.
I know. Stay tuned. Horror End said the opening credits I enjoyed. The whole movie I enjoyed, but the opening credits made me smile with the pumpkins carving faces. Oh yeah, the opening credits was great with the Halloween 3 font and stuff. It was great. I absolutely loved that. Yeah, if you haven't already, please hit the like button already, or as Jaded likes to say, stab that like
Stab
button.
that like button.
Art said, I don't know nothing about Marvel. Well, that's okay, because we're going to take you on a ride together, and it's going to be fun. J-Ded said, I'm gonna go get ready for work. This was awesome. Glad you all liked the film, so I wasn't alone. Much love, everybody. Yeah, man, I really, really enjoyed it. I think both of us did. Art said, Nightmare is the only horror franchise I watch less than 1% of the time. I honestly don't know why. Well, listen, man, if you want to take a deep dive again, do it with us. We have commentaries for the first 3, and we did episodes of Purely and Simply Evil on the first 2. Mike and Jay from Wham were with us on the 3rd one, which was like the blast of a show. We're actually going to get to hang out with them some this weekend at Scarefest in Lexington, which is going to be cool. So it's going to be a good time, man.
Gonna be a blast. We got
lots of
drinks
coming. Lots of good things coming. So, guys, listen. To every single person that joined us tonight, thank you so much. This has been a blast. Again, I'm not going to get all sappy and emotional again, but the last 5 years and this ride through the Blumhouse trilogy have been a really, really I don't know what I'm saying. I'm starting to confuse my words like I'm drunk. But it's been a blast, and it's been a whole lot of fun to be able to do this and to talk about these films and to do the constant updates and the speculation and the trailer reactions. And we're going to continue to break this down. We're going to continue to talk about it. And now we're going to start, again, we're going to shift away from just solely talking about ends, and we're going to start to talk about the franchise again. We're going to get back into Elm Street. And then also, I know we've talked about this before, and this will definitely be a project for next year. We probably won't get to this in 2022, but on the Let's Talk Movies slate in 2023, I feel like Kevin Feige. I should have like big billboards with like things like lighting up and stuff. But on the 2023 slate for the show, the official 3rd season of Purely and Simply Evil is going to be all zombies, which, if y'all know me, I'm a big fan of zombies. Like, I love my slashers. I love my Michael Myers. But zombies are my jam, man.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna do a whole season on zombies, and that's gonna be really fun too.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys have this. I don't know if you went to a Regal Theater or if it's only exclusively in Regal Theater.
Oh yeah.
But we got a trailer at the Regal Theater
Yeah.
there's going to be a release of Dawn of the Dead, but in 3D. The what is it?
3D.
Is it the George Romero one, or
Yeah,
is it?
it's the original 73 or 74 one, whatever. So yeah, that'll be really, really cool, man. To go, I might have to go check that out. So
Yeah.
Guys, thank you again so much for hanging with us. We love each and every one of you. New episodes of our shows premiere every single Tuesday and Saturday, except for this Saturday because we'll be at Scarefest in Lexington. At 8 p.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern, and we are on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at We Talk the Movies. Guys, you are the absolute best. Please keep the conversation in the chat civil, or in the comments civil. Don't be calling Don't you be calling nobody a real fan. Don't you be doing it. We ain't like that. We don't do that.
Real fans accept discourse.
That was maybe the most profound thing you've said all night. That was actually really cool. I like that. Real fans accept discourse. I'm gonna get a photo of you and frame it and put that quote like on my a wall on my desk at work. It's just gonna be a picture of you smiling.
Mount it on the letterhead.
I like that. I need to get that on a water bottle or something, or a sticker. Listen, we can sell stickers. Listen, when we get our merch store, we're gonna sell stickers with that, and we're also gonna get a shirt that says "I love Trent."
That too. So much ideas.
If you don't know, we say Trent is our CIA agent that
FBI. Don't give the CIA much credit.
Whatever. He's our agent that is assigned to listen to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Art, we'll get to you're talking to a big Resident Evil fan. We'll get to Resident
Yeah,
Evil
we'll,
at some
we'll,
point as
we'll
well.
we'll get to that soon.
So there's so much I want to do, and it kind of kills me that I can't do it all right now. But again, like you said at the beginning, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So,
Exactly.
guys, we love you. Have an incredible rest of your night and an incredible rest of your work week. And the Scarefest vlog will come out sometime next week. So, guys, we love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Peace.